Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nethercast. I am your host, Razor. With me this week, this year?
This month.
Let's go with this month. This month I am joined by Shad, Smokeman, and a rare treat, we have Temp with us this time.
How's it going on, everybody?
How you doing, guys? So Temp, you're not gonna be here for the whole episode, are you? Are you just in for our first topic?
I can do the whole episode. How did y'all want to do this? Because I was kind of either or on that. Did y'all want me to stick around, or did y'all want me
to do the whole episode, coward?
I mean, how strong are your opinions on we have two major subjects to discuss this episode. One of them is the announcement that on Twitter from the official Mortal Kombat Twitter that the game is over. 11 is done. And the second subject is the trailers for Battle of the Realms. So, do you have strong feelings about the Battle of the Realms trailer that you want to stick around for?
Mild feelings. I mean, I don't think what I'm going to say is going to surprise anyone, but I'm not really.
There is one element of the trailer that I know you have an opinion on.
I'm not militant, though. I don't. It's kind of like a very strange role reversal, because even though me and Django didn't agree on everything when it came to Scorpion's Revenge, but we agreed on enough where it was a bad look when I let him rot when he did the episode with you guys. And I wasn't there to defend him, even though I agreed with maybe 80%. I think really my disagreement with Django was the emphasis. I wasn't as bothered by the Raiden stuff. But we did share a lot of overlapping points.
See, it's still... Django's main complaint wasn't the Raiden stuff, but it was baffling to me that he was so fixated on that scene, because there's nothing wrong with the scene. The problem is his misunderstanding of the timeline of the scene.
Yeah, well, I always thought, like...
He just could not comprehend the fact that Raiden wasn't saving Jax from Goro because Raiden was busy talking to Scorpion. They were happening at the same time.
He took, like, a weird amount of time defending that. Like, it took us, like, a good 20 minutes trying to explain that to him. It was fucking weird.
I think that's a good thing, though. I think the Nethercast, especially in 2015, was always at its strongest when we had the weird-ass disagreements. That's when I think the show was the most, like, at its peak. So I miss a lot of that.
I feel like Django was undermining himself because the things that bothered him more were more valid.
That's probably why he felt... Yeah?
Is this the point where we publicly acknowledge that we're over the hill, that our best days are behind us? That now we're just a walking shadow of what we once were?
I think
100%.
You say that, but we haven't done a single Defenders of the Realm commentary yet.
I think there's an issue with the subject predicate of that sentence. It's not us, it's Mortal Kombat. We're fine. We're doing great.
Yeah, Temp's right.
Temp is right. That's the most right thing he's ever said.
And you know what? Like, I think the danger of that is we pretty much all agree on everything now. There's not much we disagree about.
Well,
MK11 really
I'm glad you're sticking around the whole episode because we have some disagreements to get through.
Yeah, we do. But like I said, I'm not militant.
Is it my job to be the resident contrarian?
That's right, Jay.
Oh god, no! Mortal Kombat 11 really did murder this entire podcast, didn't it? It just sucked the wind right out of our sails, and...
Well, that's part of what I want to talk about tonight, is the fact that it's been like half a year since an episode.
Well...
Or more than that.
Well, I had to talk about fucking the movie last time, because no one else wanted to.
That is something I want to cover.
That is
my god!
I don't know if that's arguably Mortal Kombat. I consider that movie to be off topic.
Let me be clear. I don't want to cover the movie. I want to cover why we didn't cover the movie.
Well, now you get to hear it from his own words. In his own words.
So, the reason we haven't had an episode in a very long time is twofold. The first is that there's been no game news. Obviously, there's nothing to fucking talk about. What are we going to do an episode on? The second is there's been no outside media news except for the 2021 movie. And so I never said that the channel wasn't going to cover it. It's not my place to tell you guys what to do. If Cyborg wanted to make a video, if Django wanted to make a video, I wasn't gonna say no. I can't. It's not my place.
Right, it's a
Obviously,
democracy.
you, Shad, did make a video. I know. My reason for not wanting to make a video or to be in anybody else's video is that I very strongly believe with something like this, the phrase, there's no such a thing as bad publicity applies. Like, if you're talking about something in the media, you are bringing attention to it. And I just wanted this thing to quietly die and go away fast.
And guess what? It still did, even with my talking about it for, 45 minutes? I thought that it was necessary for us to actually have some sort of concrete statement, and I pretty much spoke for everyone's feelings on it. I don't regret doing it, and I don't blame you or anyone else for not wanting to.
My concrete statement was to ignore it until it went away. And I am satisfied with having done that. I feel that I don't have anything more to say about the movie. But we're doing an episode now because there's a real movie to talk about.
I would like to add one little tidbit. When I was editing the new Conquest commentary that was just put up today, as of when we're recording this, it was just uploaded. There was a bit I actually had to delete to completely cut out of the whole thing.
Yes, because we recorded that fucking thing 2 weeks before the fucking movie came out.
I'm getting to that. First of all, there's a lot of laziness going on our side, and second, as I was getting to, there's a bit where Razor said, "Oh well, the movie will probably be fine. The fights will probably be cool, and maybe some cool costumes." But overall, I don't, and overall, I don't think it'll be like, that offensive. And then he saw, he was very wrong. Oh man, that movie's fucking terrible. That movie's actually the worst thing with the MK brand on it.
Let me be clear. I would never take the ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist approach to Annihilation, Conquest, Defenders of the Realm. The Journey Begins, we did on this channel. I would be willing to watch clips from the Federation of Martial Arts or the live tour and cover them on this channel before I would do 2021. Yes. It is literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my life that had the Mortal Kombat branding on it. And that's why, as far as I'm concerned, there was no movie this year. Battle for the Realms is the movie this year.
It was a weird little phenomenon because something I didn't expect to happen was a lot of people contacted me IRL and they're like, "Hey, you're the Mortal Kombat guy. Would you know? And I'd really like you to watch the new movie with me." And I'm just like, "How's your Sunday look?" And I ended up seeing the movie like 3 times.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've been in that fucking situation. We're talking about it, and
I had a similar situation where friends would ask me if it was any good. Because I'm the Mortal Kombat guy, I would give them the opinion of if it was good as a Mortal Kombat thing. And I told every single one of them, don't see it. It's rancid trash.
I got that too.
Just skip it.
I got the.
So none of them made me watch it with them. I'm thankful for that.
I got that in my friend group and some coworkers as well.
I think every single Mortal Kombat fan out there got that, and for people like us, for me it was just, nope, it's rancid, it's terrible, it's fucking god awful. Don't waste your time. Well, do you want to go see it? No. Hey, do you want to go see it? No. Shad, do you want to? Fuck you! I was just gonna ask you for some pizza.
I would like to preface an anecdote I have. The first time my friends and I went to a bar after COVID, we're all vaccinated, went to a bar. One of my friends brought his girlfriend. They about like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago saw that movie against my non-recommendation, and they both fucking hated that piece of shit because it's just a bad movie anyways, like outside of being a bad Mortal Kombat movie. And the day that I went to that bar with them, I wore like just like a classic MK logo shirt, and his girlfriend walked up to me, pointed at my shirt, and said, "No, no, no, no," like because she doesn't know anything about Mortal Kombat. That was her first introduction to Mortal Kombat. That's just what Mortal Kombat is to her now.
Welcome
There's
to
nothing
how.
I can do to. There's nothing I can do to fix that. It influences public opinion poorly.
Now,
And
I
this
want
is
you.
how I felt about 9 for the past 10 years.
And this is how I felt about the Transformers franchise since 2007. Can you hear my teeth gritting?
The one thing I want to point out is that obviously, like, most, if not all of us, have someone or someones in our friend group that like to watch bad movies on purpose to laugh at them with us.
It's my entire friend group.
That is something you can do with Annihilation, but even on that level, you can't enjoy this movie. It's not that kind of bad. It's just bad.
I had every single person in my friend group, in my social circles who saw it, go, "That was so terrible. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you," or some extension of that. And the 2 people who said it wasn't that bad, follow that up with, "But I wasn't expecting that much of anything. Really, it's Mortal Kombat. You know, it's that mindset." I know. Those are the only people who think this is legitimately a good movie.
Well, even on the Warrior Shrine, I opted not to bring it up because I guess my 2 stances on this film. I'll start with a secondary stance. I do know some people who like this movie, and the battle is not worth it to me. I have no interest in engaging in that argument. If I win that debate, I get nothing, first of all. But more importantly, like, if I did a podcast going over all the problems with the movie and everything I dislike about it, it does not bring me any happiness to blast people's acting. Like, to take someone's performance and go into great detail why it's bad, I take no joy in that. I don't want to do that for like 45 minutes to an hour. If I don't, like, I'll do it with like writing, and I'll do it sometimes with art. But with acting, I mean, there's a million reasons why that performance may have been bad. It just, I don't like picking on the little people.
I'm really hoping...
I will gladly shit on performances. Fuck the Shang, fuck the Raiden, fuck Louis Tan, fuck them all.
I'm really hoping the guy who played Raiden was phoning it in, because if that's what it looks like when he's trying, that's an oof. That's a big oof.
When I did my thing last time, I was just really complimentary of the Kano performance, and I just settled with everyone else ranges from acceptable to decent to god-awful. I didn't specify who. But because, like I said, I feel sorry for all the cast members who had to be a part of that. So I'm not going to sit there and like take pot shots at them. I agree with Temp on the count.
I
think it's clear that some of the actors could have given a good performance with better direction. I think some of the talent was there. But like I said, I think there's a million things that went wrong before the camera turned on. And I think a lot of it was just the interpretations of the character. But I think the Liu Kang actor could have given a great performance. But I think his interpretation of... I don't know. I'm sorry, Smokeman. Continue.
What?
No, I thought someone was about to say something. Yeah, just...
No, I was just getting my 2 cents in that I will shit on performances if they're bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, performance, a lot of actors can be misinformed with like bad directors. But also, I've heard stories of performances that were saved in editing because the actor is bad on set, and they had to and the editor had to fucking Frankenstein a performance in the editing bay. So
that was never going to happen with this movie because they deliberately got a first-time director because the producer wanted to be Kevin Feige and have like it be his vision, and so he got like a guy who would be a lackey.
We have given this thing about 15 minutes more time than it
Yeah,
actually
we spent way
deserves.
too much time on this. So,
We have more important
Yeah.
things to discuss.
So
I
anyways,
just wanted to. I just wanted to explain to people why it's been so long since there's been an episode.
so
That
let's-
and I mean we have a Lost just came out today. We have another Lost in editing. We have 2 patron casts waiting to be edited. That's the laziness aspect.
A lot of it is busy. Being a grown-ass adult is hard.
That's true.
It's not just us being lazy. I resent that remark.
as do I.
Well, one of you already said the word lazy earlier.
Wasn't I?
That's what I was going off
Was
of.
not me. Smokeman can
All
speak
right.
for himself.
That was me.
All right, well, I'm not. Smokeman is the main editor. So,
Look, man, life can sometimes suck.
Yes,
I
it can.
understand.
Like,
look, I'm not getting on anybody's case about it. I'm just communicating to the audience what the holdup is.
Our mantra is we've always been able to. We've always just done things when we're able to do them. We're not like smash and hate fuck the like and subscribe button anymore. If we ever really were, we get things out when we get things out. But I don't like.
I personally,
I don't like
feel
keeping people in the dark.
I feel guiltier about the wait time ever since we started a Patreon, and I have to really give the people who donate to that a lot of credit for sticking with us, and I'm very grateful for you. So thank you to all of you who have not canceled despite the 6-month drought.
Oh. Anyways, let's go ahead and segue horribly, I might add.
Right.
To
Indeed.
So the MK11 Twitter announced that the game is over, and there's been a lot over the past few months of tweeting from people who are incredibly dissatisfied at the lack of communication and are now dissatisfied at knowing it's over. And
I mean, pick one.
honestly,
I have 2 things to say about it, and the first is that the NRS ghosting us when they're done making a game is the thing they've done at the end of every game. This is nowhere near new, and I'm sorry if this is your first time being exposed to it, because 11 was your first game, but they did it with 9, they did it with Injustice, they did it with X, they did it with Injustice 2.
This is the first time they've actually come out and
Yes.
said, "We're done. The game's not
That
being
was the
supported
second.
anymore."
That was the second thing I wanted to say. This is, in fact, the first time they've ever informed us that they were done supporting a game, which is honestly kind of incredible. I think
it's a good thing. It's a very good thing, and
I mean,
it's a precedent that should continue.
it's a shame they waited so long, especially after Ed said we're not done after the Melina pack came out, and then it turned out yes, you fucking were.
I think that the current bit of buzz going out around there right now is they weren't done, but then WB said that they were, which wouldn't surprise me at all.
Right.
There's also
right.
been a lot of
That's-
well, you might. I think one of the mobile devs said you might see some of what was planned in MK Mobile, which I guess is better than nothing, even though I don't really care about it much one way or the other.
I have said on multiple occasions that I respect the mobile game more than I respected 11, because I feel like the people making it are more reverential to the old material.
Oh, it does seem like they care a little bit more.
I mean, it's a shame, like, because mobile games, the depth isn't really there gameplay-wise, but I think there's a lot of really cool art assets in the mobile game.
Yeah.
And I really like that part of it.
In conclusion, for what I have to I should say in conclusion, honestly, is anyone just kind of glad it's done?
I would say yes. That actually is the reason why I'm on the show, is to say I'm glad it's done.
Yeah.
for the most part.
I really wanted to have you on here to get your gameplay perspective on this. You know what?
There were, yeah.
It's just, I look back on the entire time, this entire past 2 years I've had with MK11. I've been thinking about it for 3 days now, ever since they said that we're done. And I'm going back, I'm looking over all the time I spent playing it. all the time I spent in the crypt, all the time I spent in the towers, the times I was online, and I one thing keeps coming back to me. The game's not fun. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing of it. Like, it's a variety of factors coming together. Just
11 is I have complicated feelings because the reveal event, when we all went to Los Angeles, me, Cyborg, Shad, and we met Randy and Rain Reptile and Merc and everybody else who was there. That was one of the best moments of since we started this podcast for me. That was one of my happiest occasions doing this Mortal Kombat thing.
it was a
But
highlight.
the game itself, I knew from the first time we played it there that I wasn't enjoying the way it felt. And I was trying to, mitigate that. I was saying, well, it was an unfinished demo and I didn't get much time with it. Who knows what the final version will be? Like, I didn't learn how to play it. Didn't have time. And then just the game came out, and the longer it's gone on, I don't like 11, and I never did.
I tried to force myself to. I tunnel visioned the fuck out of my gameplay, and I made myself look at the really cool aspects of gear and how neat it was to run around in a film-inspired crypt. And
Yeah, I still love the crypt. And
I do too, but it got old after like month 3.
I'm so glad we got Fujin.
Yeah, Fujin was great. Melina was great. Rain was amazing.
Liu Kang in the base story mode, like, I wish we hadn't gotten Aftermath, even though, like, the Shang content in it is so good. I wish it didn't exist, because it ruined all the great stuff they did with Liu and Katana.
Shang himself was the best part of Aftermath, by and large. Just having Carrie back in that role, at your command, being able to play as him with, like, the jacket on, or, it hasn't been all terrible. But there's like a couple of really good highlights against so much bad, chronically unfun stuff.
Yeah.
The grind, the horrible grind of towers, the clunky gear system that gave you almost nothing worth owning. The entire crypt system just, I think I'm still missing artwork.
The thing that annoys me about it is everything that's wrong with 11 was also wrong in Injustice 2.
Yeah.
Temp?
Well, I guess one of the reasons why I came on the show was because some people on the forum or the Discord, that was a Freudian slip. Some people in the Discord asked for an autopsy.
Before you continue, Tim, I want to get something in.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Because
I know what you're about to go on is going to be pretty long.
I'll try to keep it short, but yes, I do. There's a list of things
I want to say what I think really killed this fucking game. What killed my fun for this fucking game is Breakaway. Just straight up bad mechanic. Look. You cannot have a mechanic that gives you a launcher only one time in a match, and then just have it taken away from me if someone just has the meter. Why should I be punished for that? You can say, like, oh, well, do it when they don't have the meter. Fuck you. No, call me a scrub. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. That's not fun.
Well, that meter's not static either. That meter's increasing throughout the duration of your combo. So where do you drop your combo?
They're not earning that shit. And fucking either A, make it so every launching crushing blow is infinite for the whole match. Every time I get a punish, whatever, I don't give a shit. Or take out the entire breakaway mechanic. Because I don't want to play against the AI who will break away at every single instance that they fucking can. I knew even before the game came out that breakaway shit would be very, very annoying. And it is. And so many people are playing this fucking tower and having to deal with that shit, having to just wait for the AI to fucking spend some meter or like do a launching combo and then wait for them to like bait out their breakaway. Like I don't have to do this in fucking MKX or MK9. If I do a launcher and they like do a breaker, like I can, if I play right, I can still like go in and my string will still launch. My special move will still launch. I don't lose that launcher for the entire fucking I fucking hate breakaway. It is the entire reason I don't think this game is fun.
Then I'll segue from that. We'll start with combo potency. Reducing the viability of combos and adding a universal combo breaker was a very bad move. It is by far the game's biggest problem, like Smokeman said. It does two things I think are very bad for any new game. One, it hurts beginners, severely hurts beginners, because they reduced combo potency to make neutral more important. But a beginner can learn a combo in an evening. Learning good neutral takes hundreds, if not thousands, of matches. So the one advantage beginners could obtain early was out of the ring. It wasn't relevant anymore. The second problem is when you reduce combos and just punishes in general, because breakaway is a way of evading punishes, low-level strategies get so much stronger. And that's kind of what the game turned into. If you ever watched the We Play tournament, you would just watch people jumping in for free, which brings us to item 2. Anti-airs were just not viable enough. People could jump as much as they want, and the best way to kill neutral in your game is to let people leave the ground game when it becomes inconvenient. So, and also, like, another way to kill your neutral is de-incentivizing engagement. Because if you're Sonya and you have a 12-frame projectile, but if you don't engage, you'll build meter for a breaker, what are you going to do? You're going to zone and hold out until you have breakaway, then you're going to engage. And if the engagement doesn't go your way, well, you have a breakaway combo. Now, you can use an armor breaking move to negate that, but you have to guess. Even if you got the conversion against Sonya, you have to make a guess whether to drop your combo or not to obtain the benefits of that armor breaking move, which is bad game design. If you already got the conversion, you shouldn't have to guess to keep the benefits of your conversion. I just think
that's so fun. That's such a fun mechanic. I'm having so much fun dropping my combo on a bad read. That's so fucking fun.
It's so fun, Smokeman, and that's why they put it in the game, of course. But that. Okay, so the third problem, like I said, I promise I'll try to go through this quick.
I want to add an addendum.
No, yes, please, absolutely.
Fuck you for making me having to choose whether to have that move or not. Fuck you.
It's okay, man. It's all right.
Believe it or not, it's not on my list.
You know what?
Fuck you.
The reason I hated variations in X, I feel the same way about gear moves in 11. Just let me have all the characters' famous moves on one build.
Right? How hard is this? Why, in God's name, would I ever want to play a Raiden who can't teleport? A Scorpion who... What? Oh, by the way, as long as we're talking gameplay mechanics, whoever thought it would be a good idea to have any game that required you to burn meter to make any special move perform the way it always has? Hand in your fucking...
You know, even then, Scorpion Spear doesn't, even if you burn meter, perform the way it traditionally has.
It sometimes does, and it sometimes doesn't. I'm able to, if I get an uppercut off right away, I mean within the first vulnerable frame.
Stun window. There's a stun window now. It's not just a stun where you can take as long as you fucking like to do a combo. It's like, no, you gotta do it immediately or nothing.
Why am I burning meter? Why am I burning meter? For any of these things to happen. Why?
Well, my favorite example of how fucking stupid it is Rain. There's no way to have the water ball, the lightning bolt, and the super roundhouse on the same build in this game.
Makes me so angry.
It can't be done.
His coolest special move, the fucking roundhouse, scales so bad. It's worthless. and I have to spend meter to make a cup. Fuck you. It's
This
why would
entire
they put Rain
game.
why would they put the Combo King in this video game?
This entire game was engineered from a gameplay level to not make UMK3 style gameplay possible. That's all I gotta say about it.
Well, I'm unique in this respect because I hated the customs. Well, yes,
I'm sorry.
I don't believe you, but go on. Joking. Continue, my friend Smokeman.
We're talking about how it's dumb that the spear has to use meter to combo.
I was screaming about that on day one, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal." What do you think now?
I think it's especially stupid how Sindel's scream can only combo via crushing blow now. That's awful. That's a big fuck you. To me. To anyone who presses X on Sindel.
Man, I don't even want to talk about Sindel, dude.
No, we haven't.
Don't make me talk about Sindel and Lee May in the same episode, man. I'm just a person, okay?
Let's just say that the word Sindel has been a running curse for about a good decade now for a variety of reasons, and is a reason that many of us were displeased with Aftermath. Let's just leave it at that. Thank you.
It's a shame. She's one of the best parts of MK9, but I'm definitely unique in this respect. I did not like customs. No, her gameplay is fantastic. Yeah, everything else. Well, I like her alternate.
As a story character, I've never liked Sindel. Ironically, Deception is the only game I like her in. The only time she's ever been good is the only time I liked her.
She's always been a non-character, and I don't know how you fuck up a non-character. Well, there it is. You did it. You did it. Good job. Good job. Hand in your resignations! All of you! How could you?
That's what it would take to get a good MK game. You can't fire everybody, so the only answer is to give it to a different studio.
You're honestly right, you know.
The unique thing about the Sindel angst is that it has kind of found a life of its own. It kind of, like a lot of controversies and fan knee-jerks, a lot of them kind of die out, as almost all knee-jerks do. But kind of like the knee-jerk against Sindel kind of became sentient and started walking the earth. It hasn't gone away yet. It's still around.
Dom is still getting shit about it.
Yeah, the lasting legacy of 11 above all other things, period, about this game will be Titans were bad and Sindel was bad.
Remember
That's
how
embarrassing. That's really embarrassing.
Remember how like Street Fighter 4 was literally like the second coming of the fighting game genre, and all it literally was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but like prettier? Why can't we get that? Huh? Anyone?
I mean, that's not too far from what I'm asking for. I really just want a remake of it now, or a remaster of MK9 at this point. If I get rollback MK9, I'm gravy. And I don't really, the only thing, I never was on the podcast when all the Sindel shit was going down. I'll just say I was very upset, and that's really all I'm going to contribute. It was a huge blow. Nothing else I can really say at this point. Probably the most liked tweet I ever made on Twitter was about Sindel. But yeah, so I was just going to add that I actually did like MKX Variations, and I did not like customs because the customs system was a mirage. It's not on my list. It's actually not even the biggest problem I have with this game. I think even with customs being bad, I think this game was salvageable. It was, however, the problems were never fixed. We went over anti-airs. We went over combo potency. We did not go over the throw meta. This game had a very unfun, bland throw meta. And people thought they made throws too strong. I disagree with that. You could maybe make the case that that crushing blows put them over the edge. I disagree with that. Throws were not stronger. The problem is they nerfed all the alternatives to throws. Offense was very shallow in this game. You couldn't do significant chip damage. Staggers were really good in this game, which I've been asking for forever. Make staggers good. However, without chip damage and without any sort of meter reward, there was no incentive to do them. So everything boiled down to a poke or throw strike after you did a stagger. So throws just started basically breeding like rabbits in the meta. And it was just, I don't think anyone enjoyed the throw meta, especially given just how strong jump kicks were in the corner. You're guessing for your life. And it's a shame because I'm afraid they're going to take it out on staggers. I'm afraid MK12 is going to come out and they're going to be like, don't worry, guys, we took out those nasty staggers that made you deal with all those throws. But staggers were never the problem. You'll notice that throws don't really happen that often in MKX because people need meter to get their game plan going. So that was a huge blow to me personally. It's not the worst problem. It's a big one. The next problem is, and I don't want to dwell on this long, but the top tiers were problems for over a year and a half until the game died. Liu Kang, Jackie Briggs, and Joker were pretty much problems from the day they showed up in the game, and they were never properly nerfed, and probably intentionally. And that's just a bad look for the game. It makes your game unbelievably unenjoyable. And there was no shortage of voices saying this was a problem. That's awful. Not really much more to say about that. That's just super unfortunate. Probably the one that, yes, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm personally kind of fine with Lou and maybe Joker being top tier.
Incorrect.
I know why you're gonna say incorrect. I just
you had
want
me for the first half. But...
I just want to say I'm thankful that Joker's not like edgy, try hard in this game. He's goofy and he's fun. I just want to say that.
Okay,
man,
but
I told you.
But his uppercut is like Rainbow Mika drinking glue. Why is it like that?
Yeah, and so is Jade.
Well, Jade, I don't think Jade was a problem, but Jade was bad character design, in my opinion. I think making a character that simple with low risk is not a good way to design a character. Not to mention all the other problems with Jade, like the insufficient staff use. I think the boring aesthetics. I think her moveset was just, I think she's one of the characters who benefited the most from customs, but neither here nor there. I don't have anything good to say about the Joker. I'm just going to kind of move on from the Joker part of that conversation. So, I mean, don't make me talk about the Joker, man. But anyway, yes. So one of the biggest problems in the FGC with the gameplay was the excessive amount of wake-up moves. I'm going to defend this, actually. I don't think this was actually a problem. I think the problem was offense was not very sophisticated in this game. So when you finally got a knockdown, it was hard to keep the momentum going. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the game having weak Okazemi. Guilty Gear Xrd has infamously weak Okazemi. Everyone's got a one-frame throw. There's faultless defense that creates pushback. And plus, there's a lot of DP moves kind of littered throughout the roster. Tekken's another one. In Tekken, pretty much all the unreactable combo launchers you can avoid by just stand blocking. It's not a big deal. You can hold back in Tekken, and you're good. All the lows are basically low damage. Now, this changes in the corner, obviously, but I don't think a game needs to have very dangerous Okazemi. The wake-up, I know a lot of our listeners will disagree, but I think the myriad of wake-up moves would have been fine if offense was just smarter in this game. But the problem is it wasn't. You have this shallow, ugly, like low poke throw meta. So when you have that, and you get the knockdown, you want to do something fun, and you can't do it because there's a billion wake-up moves. So it made it very difficult to do anything interesting in this game. But I feel like if you fix that, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world for people to be able to get back up. If you want a neutral-based game, fine, make anti-wake-up strategies weak. But you gotta make everything else good, though. That's the problem. If other things are bad, the whole system falls apart. But that's how I feel about that. And finally, Fatal Blows. There's a lot of bad things I can say about Fatal Blows, but I'm only going to say one for time purposes. They killed the pace of the match. They just took too long. Don't make me watch a YouTube video during the match. Just let me play.
You know what?
Never had this problem with it. Yeah?
The most effective way to celebrate your blood and your gore and your guts is to let it happen naturally, because naturally is disturbing. If you're draining a man of 5 pints of blood to make a baseball bat, to attach to a knife, to load into a gun, to fire it up his ass, to make his brains and his stomach and his nuts come out of his mouth, no one's even remotely entertained for more than 2 seconds. And having to watch that over and over again for weeks, for months, gets
Look,
fucking
I started
old.
I started to come around to the idea once they separated X-rays from the supers with this game that we don't need supers. I don't need a super mechanic in a fighting game. In fact, I'd probably prefer there wasn't one.
X-rays,
Because it is just watching a canned animation, and once you've seen it once, twice, 3 times, the more it gets fucking boring.
X-rays in 9 were fun at the start. But the more and more time I've spent with this, the longer they seem to have gotten, and the more dull they seem to have gotten. I just want them gone.
For me, if when X-rays were X-rays, when they had the visual of seeing the internals, I saw the reason to keep them around because that visual aesthetic had become part of the signature of the Mortal Kombat franchise. But now that the crushing blow exists, and you can have the internal view mechanic without the fucking 45 minutes of a 35% combo instantly, watching it over and over and over fuck again, I don't believe we need supers anymore. The only reason to have them was to have that visual in the franchise. Now that visual is separate, we don't fucking need supers. Get rid of supers.
I also don't need an insta-recovery gimme mechanic for the loser. I really don't. Sure, it might be very, very casual and beginner-friendly, but it's just so much bullshit.
Well, my problem with the beginner-friendly part is that if you're a beginner and the better player or the more seasoned player has a fatal blow, they can basically combo into a 50% damage ender, and that who enjoys that, right? It's not. I think my biggest problem with fatal blow, outside of that it kills the pace, is that there's no execution barrier. You hit 3 buttons, which I think was fine with X-ray, because X-ray was very expensive. You didn't get to do it unless you gave up 3 bars, including your combo breaker. This game, like, I feel like there needs to be like a KOF input, just so you have to think to use it. Then it becomes a strategical tool, and you won't see it as often, and you can't use it in the clutch unless you really know what you're doing.
The moment they gave it its own meter, and it became a thing that you can guarantee you're going to see the AI do every single fight, just like Breakaway, that's when I was done.
I don't object to having 50% damage plus combos in the game at all, but Temp's right, you need an execution barrier. I'm sitting here championing, like, you know, UMK3 style gameplay, and yeah, some of the combos in that were pretty fucking brain dead, but there were some that I used to like to enjoy doing that required a certain amount of skill to pull off. Like, I liked smacking people around with Ermac left, right, and center with jump kicks and teleport punches and airlifts. That's the kind of stuff that, like, really makes me feel that I've earned my damage.
And UMK3 was brilliant when it came to just balancing game design for both sides of the players, because even though there are more sophisticated juggles you can do outside of the ground chain combo, the ground chain combo never becomes obsolete. It's always powerful for chip damage. It's powerful for controlling space on run-up. It's powerful for doing damage and punishes. It never becomes useless. And that's the opposite of this game, in my opinion. I feel like training this game is not rewarding. I don't feel benefits when I spend time in training mode. But some of the stuff I have is just preferences. For example, I would probably get rid of the cooldown on meter. I think cooldown on meter would have been fine in a better game. Actually, we don't need to do hypothetical. Grand Blue Fantasy did this, and it was better. I think let me say some positive things. They did movement very well. I love the wave dash. I thought it was very smart, a good way to add execution in your game, but to not make it, it's not necessarily essential. You can still do good whiff punishes. You can still do all sorts of forward offense without doing the wave dash. And I think the game looks beautiful. The game still looks gorgeous. I never had a problem with the aesthetics of the game, unless they got like a costume. Yeah.
We should transition to the things that we enjoyed about it, because it wasn't all terrible. But there was just
Fujin!
Fujin far and away by a mile. Oh my god, it was so wonderful to have him back. The gameplay was almost perfect. The AI kind of went a little bit, when it came to running back and forth, but no, Fujin was nice. Playing as him was so much fun, better than ever, I'd say this is honestly the best Fujin we've ever had.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I am incredibly grateful that they kept the crossbow, because that... On the internet, everybody always seemed to think that remaking Fujin would mean getting rid of it, and I always thought of it as, like, one of the most iconic parts of his design.
I just didn't want giant laser oval green orbs. That's all. Just I could leave that particular bit.
For me, I feel like because Raiden has the staff or the hammer. Like, I feel like every god has or should have a signature weapon, and a God of Wind's weapon should be a projectile weapon. That's my opinion on it. I don't like the idea of just also giving him a staff. I don't think he needs a sword. Like, he has the what's it called, the Kusanagi in this, and
it's a fucking sword.
It's all right. Like, he does all the crouching tiger wuxia poses with it, which I can appreciate, but if Li Mei were in a game, that's what she should be doing. She's the character based literally on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. So if Fujin has that stuff, it just kind of sends a message of, like, this chick's never coming back.
Overall, I did find that a lot of the characters, that we all loved for years, were fun to play as, and that if they had the same moves that they do here, special move-wise, in a faster-paced, more fun game, I'd still be having a blast with them. For the most part. I could use a little bit less, obvious trait swapping, like everyone's got to have, like, a trap move on the ground, or,
Yeah, well, that's that gear stuff.
Vortex
When you're giving everybody 15 moves, you're gonna reuse all the types of moves there are.
Like, for the most part, I just equipped my guys with most UMK3 abilities that I could, and I had fun playing as them for some time.
Yeah, I just tried to make everybody play classic.
Yeah,
like,
Johnny was a lot of fun. So was Raiden. I did use a few new moves here and there. I liked playing as Sub a lot, but he was extremely defensive. I can't get over how defensive he is these days.
That's been his playstyle since 9. I feel like Sub-Zero is like the heavy, slow guy now, I guess.
Well, it's interesting. He had really good whip punishing. He had good defensive options, but what really separated Sub-Zero in this game was he had a relatively fast overhead. I believe it was 17 frames. Somewhere between 17 and 20 frames. If you get hit by it, you're dead.
Well, I mean, in X, he had a great rushdown style.
Yeah, all three of them did, actually. Even Unbreakable did.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean...
I just wish that they keep his gameplay consistent a little bit.
Yeah, Sub-Zero is one of the characters who was hit the hardest by the 11 stick. He doesn't have the fucking clone. Sonya doesn't have the leg grab. Why are they taking away moves that the characters are known for?
Because Cabal, when he doesn't wear a mask, shouldn't fire a laser out of his eyes. That would be silly, Razor. Oh wait, why do we have an unmasked Cabal?
Well, no, there's the thing. Like, he can do the fucking... He has smoke breath now instead of an eye laser.
I don't know.
And you can equip it whether he's wearing a mask or not.
Cabal is not a highlight of this game.
See, that's the thing, Shad. The answer is simply... Fuck you!
There are times where I feel like the game is saying that directly to me. Sonya not having a leg grab is a pretty big one.
Well, that's because you're right, Razor.
Every time I look at Shao Kahn, I feel like both he and I need to have a shower.
Yes.
I just want to get that out there. Why does he look like that?
Shao Kahn is not in this game.
No,
are you
no,
referring to the man named Husband?
Husbando. No, like
um,
the character designs are like split 50-50 down the middle. It's like Nightwolf main and then like Nightwolf retro. There's no middle ground. None.
It is amazing how radically there are good costumes and there are some of the worst they've ever had in the same game.
I kind of want to segue to the next topic. Temp, do you have anything to close out on for the gameplay?
Just that this game was, like I said, I tried to be objective as possible, right? I didn't want to really engage in any hyperbole. This game, unlike MKX, aged better over the years because we figured out how to solve all the problems. But this was so close to being a good game. I think with some very minor changes, this game could have been excellent. And it wasn't, and now it's done. So it's very disappointing for me. And I think it's still not quite as bad as an MKX situation because when MKX came out, there was no Guilty Gear Strive, there was no Tekken 7, there was no Soul Calibur 6. And there also was no Street Fighter 5 really until 2016, until MKXL came out. So we're in a better place in terms of fighting games, but it's sad seeing what the game could have been.
Maximilian put out a video today about 11 being over, and I hope, because of how big his reach is, that a lot more people now understand, first of all, how not unusual it is for NRS to fucking ghost us at the end of a game.
Yeah.
When they're done supporting, to just not say anything for a year or two, and then suddenly announce the next one, and you just figure out, okay, well, I guess the last one was dead then? And another thing is that he showed the graphic, the chart people have made that shows how long games have been supported for, and it's like comparing this to like Tekken 7 and fucking Dragon Ball Fighters and stuff like that, all the other games, and how much longer their support windows are. And then he was also adding to it how tiny the support windows were for like MVC3 and MVCI, and Killer Instinct had a pretty long one. It was just
Killer Instinct was the whole game.
Well, yeah, Killer Instinct was a game released in pieces. And honestly, I still think that worked. I'm sure I've said it many times before. I think Killer Instinct is the best fighting game of all time.
It's a contender.
I wish there was more KI content so that we could be a KI channel instead of a Mortal Kombat channel.
I'll talk to you about Ultratech lore all day, all night.
Yeah. That's... Because then I'd be happy, right? Because then I wouldn't have to be, like, making apologies for or voicing dissatisfaction with 10 years of bad decisions. I could talk about a game I fucking enjoy.
Is this a bad time to bring up the Guilty Gear Revolution happening
when
Yes.
The movie came out, when MK 2021 came out, I started telling people on Twitter and DeviantArt that I don't consider myself a Mortal Kombat fan anymore. I consider myself someone who used to be a Mortal Kombat fan. Like, that's now how I'm, like, billing myself to strangers. That's how I describe myself.
Yeah, it's all about the flag you wave, right? And I don't think anyone here is waving a Mortal Kombat flag anymore. That's not what's at my station at the moment.
It's a painful realization that, like, I've been, like, doing nothing but talking about Metroid to friends lately for the past, like, month. Not at all about MK. Not at all. A friend of mine 2 days ago goes, "Hey, did you hear MK11's done?" I'm like, yeah, it was about time. That's it.
Yeah.
But I do want to say a few more kind words before we segue into the next thing, the good thing, the fun thing.
Yes, on the subject of being a Mortal Kombat fan again. But go ahead.
I am grateful for the following. Friendships coming back. We all wanted them. They gave them to us.
That was
nice.
Most
Most of them were pretty goddamn fun.
Yeah. They actually did it. They did the job well there.
Now, 2 games in a row. Brutalities. Being fun, being rewarding, and single-handedly proving to us that we don't need the cinematic crap anymore. I still go for the brutality whenever I can. At least I did when I played.
Yeah.
I enjoy being able to select from a wide variety of like win poses and getting the ability to like slowly unlock various interactions. That kind of stuff is pretty cool.
Unlocking win poses and intro animations is like the coolest thing about this game.
That's true.
It is fun. That's the thing that makes me come back and feel like I'm growing and developing my character. I wish I had more of an actual measure of control over it. Like,
well, those things,
randomized towers should die.
Those things that can be considered, what's the word I'm looking for? Visual, like fluff and flair, like costumes. Those things are the things that are like other games you see them doing it too, and nobody ever has a problem with that as an unlockable, or even sometimes as a microtransaction where it's like just for show stuff. Like you see a game like Overwatch has costumes and poses and taunts. And
I remember we were talking about before 11 was revealed how he wanted like an unlockable like win pose or something like that.
Yeah, like, but you don't see
the next MK game.
You don't see those games making gameplay mechanics unlockable. That's the difference. That's why the one works and the other fucking doesn't.
Hatred. Anyways, should we talk about something that we like?
Well, do we all want to do our gratefuls, or we'll continue, Shad?
Yeah, we were supposed to be saying things we liked.
Like, last point here. Like I was saying, I loved being able to get that stuff. It felt like I was building a character, you know? Like, back when we played the 3D games, I'm like, oh, hey, we found, like, this alternate costume, or this character art, or, hey, cool, it's some button combinations for fatalities. Stuff like that, you know? Being able to, like, stumble across that stuff and not have to walk to someone else's beat to do it. Having it there for us to find was nice. I can't be married to your game. I don't have that kind of time. I just don't. Maybe like the 16 and under crowd does, and that's fine for them. But the rotating time-based character towers, the crypt events, all of that, please, God, flush it down the toilet. But thank you for the cool stuff that comes from it when I'm able to get it, is what I'm saying. Because it is cool stuff. It was fun running around the crypt. I just don't want to have to, like, refresh Ed's Twitter once a day, you know?
Yeah. I don't understand why companies think that engagement will somehow translate to making more money. Like the amount of time you spend playing the game after you've bought it.
It's not even.
What does that have to do with?
It's not an NRS thing. It's a whole video game thing. Player retention. Underline that. Bold that.
Yeah, how does that make them more profit though? Why do they think that's important?
I don't understand it either. I really don't. I mean, I suppose it's nice that they're paying attention to how long people stick with the game and all, but
maybe if they made the game more fun, they'd get more player attention. How about that?
This is what you can't tell marketing. A great game sells itself. The more fun it is, the better it is. The better.
If you want people to spend a lot of time, with your game, make an 80-hour JRPG.
Don't artificially
which is what I want Mortal Kombat to be anyway.
Don't artificially.
If I'm running around the crypt, give me something to fight in there.
Right? Like, I will spend 80 hours playing a great fighting game if it's just a great fighting game. You don't need to make me, like, wait and go through 25 different character towers before I have the one that I come across I really want. You don't need to do that. I'm happy to play if the game is fun. I don't need to run around a crypt for 16 hours on end or check my watch at 5:30 and some I understand what you're going for.
Don't say that I have to be on playing the game IRL Wednesday at noon or I'll miss a costume.
Like, I get what
not gonna happen.
I get what you're going for, you know. There's no real way to recapture the spirit of the old arcade, like secrets and hidden stuff. Because, you know, data miners are going to fucking ruin everything, because that's what they do. but this isn't the way to go about it. That's all I'm saying. I appreciate the attempt, just organize it a little bit better.
I'm grateful for.
You are grateful for...
I am grateful for the depiction of Liu Kang prior to DLC. I am grateful for the fact that someone who clearly has a love for him and Katana was given the opportunity to write a story mode.
Yes.
Because Brian Chard clearly did not like those characters.
Dom, if that was you, despite all the Sindel shit, thank you. You did Lou
I think
well.
I think it was almost certainly Kittleson. I don't want to kind of make it like a one-dimensional thing where everything good was Sean and everything bad was Dom.
That's never the case.
But I have seen Kittleson's tweets about Liu and Katana. I'm pretty sure the one who's a fan of those two is him. And because he has said in his head, his personal favorite ending, the one he thinks of as canon, is the vanilla story mode one, where it's him and her together at the end of time, not the Aftermath one. Which I agree with him on. So, thank you, Sean Kittleson, for getting that one thing right. Now, could you please stop having Cyrex commit suicide every time he gets his free will back?
Also, note to WBNRS, please do not make things in tie-in storylines in outside media like comic books, which inevitably get cancelled on a whim, part of the official chronology. Thank you. Let the games tell their own story. I appreciated the MKX comics, they were wonderful, and I'm sure I would have loved the MK11 comics if they'd been allowed to exist. But now I just have a dead Goro sitting there for some reason, and I really wish I could have actually seen why.
Yeah, tie-in media.
It's a bad idea.
Unless you're Halo, don't do it.
It's a bad idea. More things we're happy about. Things we're happy about. Let's try.
Yes, things we're happy about.
I am thankful for Fujin. I am thankful for being able to like Baraka again. I am thankful for how Liu and Katana are
you're right.
Baraka. I am thankful for how Liu and Katana are treated in the story mode. That shit's great. I'm thankful for good costumes, like Nightwolf's like classic-esque one sticks out to me. Fucking I said earlier I was thankful that the Joker is not try hard and he's actually goofy in this game, which I've been, as a comics person, I've been asking for that for a long time. And I think that's everything.
Baraka was amazing. Yes.
Isn't it funny how, like...
Carrie! I'm thankful for Carrie.
Yeah.
Carrie.
Lambert and Ashby and Bridget.
Yes.
Thankful for them.
I'm pretty sure Tyrone Wiggins' reign was a prank now, thank you.
I'm still not convinced the TW ever stood for Tyrone.
Oh, goodness. No, it was really nice to actually see that again one more time. I know it'll never happen again, but, oh, it was wonderful. If only we got an announce for Shang. Would have made everyone's day.
Someone was going to say something about Baraka.
Yes. Isn't it funny how the key to making a jobber henchman interesting is to make him kind of a good guy?
A little bit, yeah.
Like it turns out that if you're a henchman character, being evil will never be the key to giving you a personality. You'll only ever get scenes and screen time and good dialogue if you're working with the heroes.
I don't even think that's just fiction. That's just real life.
It might be the case. I think it's possible. Maybe not to promote a henchman, but certainly if you're already a decent tier of bad guy like Shang is, it's not hard to make you interesting. I just think it's like Reptile is definitely a character who, like, the only way he'll ever get some respect on his name is if he stops fucking working for the bad guys, because them treating him like crap is the reason he looks like crap.
Bad guys. I am grateful for Kano. Kano in story mode was lots and lots and lots of fun. Both versions of him. I am grateful for Johnny Cage, because Johnny Cage has probably been the single best part of all 3 NRS games. Far and away.
Yeah, I always said the only character who was improved by 9 was Johnny. Everyone else was better off in the old timeline.
I'm thankful for Collector. That's a cool character.
Collector is 50% of a cool character.
Yeah, I know his moves suck and they need to be fixed.
I just think he'd work better as an NPC. I think part of the guy's gimmick should be that he knows he's not good at fighting, so he doesn't get into fights.
I don't operate on that level of thinking. Like, if the character's playable, he should be playable in future games, and his moves should be better. God damn it!
I'm with Smokeman here.
I
Collector was a good attempt, but I felt like there's a lot more and much better you could do with a guy with 6 arms. That's
his
all.
design and story are great, but his moves they're just fucking bad, and they go against
well, let me put it this way.
I'm talking here, and they go against the fucking idea, and his special moves dilute him to just being Gear Man.
Yeah.
He's just the gear character.
Like, obviously I agree with you with what's wrong about his moves, but for me, what I like about the character can best be summed up with a metaphor. If you were making a Lord of the Rings fighting game, would you make Grima Wormtongue playable?
I don't know what that is.
I'd make him a
Okay,
projectile.
well, other people get it. I think Collector should be like Wormtongue. He's a scheming, politics whisper in the king's ear kind of character, and I think that kind of character, their personality is shown off best when you see them go, fighting is for dumbasses. Why would I ever get punched in the face?
That's true, but
I mean, it was.
Here's the problem. A lot of people, apparently, for some reason, people think that Collector is a miss of a character. And I think the reason why is, well, I've seen the reason why. They think that he has no fucking role in story mode, but neither does New Cybot, so that really holds no credence. What I think would make him be more of a hit instead of a miss is showing him do his job. He's supposed to be the tax collector. He's going around the different tribes and different like civilizations in Outworld and collecting tribute for Shao Kahn. What if one doesn't want to give up their tribute? What if he takes something that they don't want him to take? Well, he has to defend himself, right? That's what I say. He needs a way to defend himself.
No, and that's
possible, but
I just have him not travel anywhere without a group of Tarkatans.
That's the thing. He's also very.
And what if he takes
like,
from the Tarkatans?
He also seems like very much the kind of guy that would walk around with like a couple of big beefy Shoguns with him to make sure people pay up. It's like it's
when you have the mob boss who's like, "Nice shop you got here. Be a shame if something ever happened to it." That guy's always got a couple of big beefy dudes to do the smashing for him.
All I'll say is this. If he never shows up as a playable character again, it sucks, but hey, he had a run. But I'd be perfectly content to see him as an NPC. I don't dislike him. He's just not fun to play as.
Anyway, things we're grateful for.
I'll go ahead and jump in. I'll start off with Scarlet. I'm actually really happy Scarlet's in this game. When her gear is good, she looks really cool. Even her bad gear, I don't mind like the World War II pilot gear. I think even that looks good in some contexts. Yeah, it's got kind of like this interesting desert vibe to it that's kind of grown on me over the years. The short hair.
I wish there was a fucking story to it. Like when she was revealed, I really thought they were going to say that she's been hanging out with the Red Dragon gang. Because she was in the comic.
I'm very glad she's back, because when she showed up in 9, she was like blowing my mind. I've always wanted to see that rumor come to life since the days of MK2 and 3. And here she is. And I just wish that, like with many characters, there was a bit more consistency, gameplay-wise, and I guess look-wise a little bit, between 9 and 11. because it felt like two different characters. And if I'm being honest, I liked the 9 incarnation more, and I'm not even a I love my bikini girls kind of guy. She was just more like she was just more
She was
fun
an
to play
assassin.
as.
She's a blood mage. She's
Yeah.
not an assassin anymore.
So,
Exactly.
I think in terms of Scarlet, 11 vastly improved her move set. It always bothered me in 9 that she played like she was to Melina what Smoke was to Sector. You know what I mean?
Or
There's a
rather,
lot of Serena's MK Armageddon in there too.
rather
A
she
little
was
bit.
what she was to Melina what Jade started out as to Katana. That was specifically why I enjoyed her a lot. Because it felt like they were saying, yes, we know what you were envisioning, here it is.
I get it. I found her moves in 9 incredibly boring and uninspired. It's sort of like I didn't like Cyber Sub-Zero's moves because he was just doing Cyrax bombs. I liked his normals because he had that fuck off big ice sword and he had some really cool spin kicks. But I didn't like his specials because it felt like, oh, I get what they're doing. They're making him play like Cyrax because Smoke kind of play like Sector, and they're doing the thing. I thought the thing was dumb. So that's how I felt about Scarlet. In terms of moves, I think they have really, really filled out all the ideas of what you could do with the blood stuff. So I'm grateful for that. And I like her outfit that's kind of, I don't know. The primary is the fucking desert shit, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the other one, the one that's not her primary but should be her primary, is the one that's like a cross between a tight latex bodysuit and an evening gown. I like that.
Yeah, that one looks good.
That's my
That-
go-to
I like
as
that
well.
outfit. Yeah.
I go to MK2
Uh,
usually with Scarlet, but they both
Jeff?
look good.
Did you have anything else to say about?
Well, hold on. I'm not done. I think Scarlet story-wise is a humongous step down from 9. The Blood Golem, who we don't even know if it could talk or think for itself yet, but maybe it was going to be set free and grow a personality in sequels. That seed of an idea had infinite potential, and they deleted it and replaced it with fucking Shao Kahn adopts orphans now.
Orphan
Whatever,
65, please come to the stage.
I have no fucking interest in fucking Blood Mage Oliver Twist bullshit. Fuck off.
Too many orphans in the kitchen.
I hate Scarlet's 11 story.
I'm fairly neutral on it. I don't believe in changing things if you can help it, but I like her personality, so I'm willing to forgive that. I enjoyed
Well, that's
watching her
another thing.
talk.
I don't know how I feel about her having that cheesy Romanian vampire accent.
I love it. I adore it. I think Scarlet's adorable in this game.
I guess my question is, what does Natara talk like then? If Scarlet talks like a stereotype of a vampire, what does the vampire sound like?
Probably late 40s Gene Simmons. That's my guess. I mean, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong about that.
Danny Filth.
Danny Filth. Yeah. With a screeching, I can see that.
All the time. You know my position on Scarlet's backstory. I look at the 9 origin, I look at the 11 origin, I squint and I
Right.
mash them up together because I
Right.
can't be fucking asked.
I
Blood
I
Golem
get-
mage that was transferred into an orphan.
I get
just
it,
don't
but
care.
I think if you do mash them up, that still makes it worse. You're taking something that was pretty much perfect the way it was, and you're stuffing a bad ingredient in there, and you're spoiling the broth.
I'm not saying it's not
Collector's
derivative.
right over there. It's the same shit.
I'm not saying it's not derivative. I know
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
the other thing. Collector is also a poor orphan who complains all the time about other people's privilege. They're the same fucking character dialogue-wise. Her and Collector. It's
But
nobody needs two of
Collector-
those.
Continue, Shad.
I mean, there's so many orphans. Liu Kang was an orphan. Smoke was an orphan.
Yeah.
It's
But I am
half the fucking roster now.
I am grateful for her moves.
Well, I like both. I think both are invaluable, and
I think it's a good thing she came back at all, because so often with new characters, they're a one and done and people forget about them.
I was
Well, that was the best
agreed.
part about the reveal with Scarlet.
I was
Seeing
extremely
Scarlet,
glad to see her back.
I'm so glad me and Jacob got that reaction recorded. I was so happy to see her in the review. I still can't really believe it if I'm being honest, but I was afraid bringing up Scarlet might do that, but I like Scarlet a lot. I think she was the final frontier of MK9. She made this to this day be top 5, but no one knows because she was so difficult to use. But I think both Modern and MK9 Scarlet are just very smart gameplay designs. I wouldn't mind seeing some combination of the two one day. But the other thing I'm grateful for is staggers. For our audience members, if any of them don't know, a stagger is just a move that could be transitioned safely into a chain combo, but it doesn't have to be, and so you can use it to bully your opponent, right? So if I do forward 1 with Kung Lao, I could do another forward 1, or if you're trying to challenge my forward 1, I could just go into forward 1-3 and take away half your life, or at least until you break away. So that was great. That's what I always wanted in MKX, but you couldn't do it, even if your frame data was good. The problem is, it didn't matter if you were plus or safe on block because, first of all, you're rarely ever plus on block in that game. But more importantly, people could react to your stagger. They'd be able to see if you were going to go into the chain combo or not. So there was no point. Any good player would shut down your stagger. Not in MK11. In MK11, staggers were very good, almost too good. And that let me play a style that I don't think anyone really expected to be viable in MK11. So I did a lot of forward 1s in my game, and I used that as sort of like my footsie tool, and it got me a lot of mileage because there was sort of like a fuck around and find out element to it. Because if you challenge it at the wrong time, well, you're going to be on your back, right? I love that. And so many Cassie had a great stagger game. Nightwolf had a pretty good stagger game too. It's crazy seeing something that was viable among like 2 or 3 characters in MKX. 4 characters: Johnny, Reptile, Jax, and Scorpion. Forgive me if I'm leaving anyone out. But yeah, and Predator. I'll put Predator in there. And like half the cast can do it viably. I think that's awesome. I love it. And then finally, I'm glad Fujin was in the game. But just to kind of, as a cherry on top, I'm glad Fujin wasn't bald like all my other favorite fucking characters in MK11. I'm glad he had long, beautiful hair. So
that is one of the things I'm most impressed by, that they made a Fujin design with good hair. Because ever since Armageddon, everybody draws fan art of Armageddon Fujin, and I fucking hate his hair in that game. I think it looks terrible. And they managed to have the loose bangs in 11 without it looking the way they do in Armageddon. Like, he looks like he has an adult male haircut instead of like short bangs like a woman.
Well, it is a shame that if you want the
Which is
king,
kind of my problem with Nine Smoke. Like, it took this long for them to figure out what long hair on a man should look like.
well, that's bittersweet. I'm actually glad Smoke's on in this game for all the reasons I listed earlier. Put him in a better game, please.
I just don't get me started. Things we're grateful for. We should probably segue into the next section very soon.
Yeah, I've made my peace. I love Fujin. I am the bald thing is not a joke. I don't know why they had to cut the hair of so many iconic, visually iconic characters. So
I do wish he had a skin where he was wearing like the classic Mythologies MK4 outfit that didn't have the Virgil hair.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to segue into that, but yes, I absolutely agree.
I would like to say that I am grateful that they brought Noob Saibot back. I don't know that I necessarily agree with their design for him. It's a Nazgul. It's just a Nazgul. That's all it is. His non-entity factor in story mode, he deserved much better than that.
Oh, there's a lot of frustrating stuff going on with how they've chosen to depict him. The fucking Dr. Claw voice, the fact that everybody calls him Bihan. Nobody says the name Noob Saibot in dialogue anywhere in the game.
I feel like it's a case where they're secretly kind of ashamed of the character for whatever reason. They think the name
really
is dumb.
Pisses me off. People don't even call each other noob as an insult on the internet anymore. That was like an early 2000s thing.
Yeah. But lest I dwell on it, I'm just glad to have him back. He was a fun main for the course of this game. So thanks for that.
Is that everything? Is everyone's peace made?
I'll second Noob. Noob's a good choice. I'm glad he's back as well.
We could go down the entire roster. We really could, but I don't think we have the time or inclination to do that.
Please, it's been an hour and a half and I'm tired.
I know.
You know that we have a whole other subject to get to, right?
This was supposed to be a 15-minute subject.
Look at us go! And so now we move on to our second topic of the evening's soiree discussion. We have something to actually look forward to. And that something is called Mortal Kombat Battle of the Realms.
Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms.
Ah yes, Legends.
Right. Because the previous one was called Mortal Kombat Legends Scorpion's Revenge.
But no one calls it by that.
Well, we just call it Scorpion's Revenge.
The word legends implies to me myth, fable, something that isn't real. But this feels so very real to me.
To be fair, the most real MK game is called MK Mythology.
Ooh-ah.
the only game that is canon in both timelines.
That's
Anyway. Anyway. So yeah, we started getting hints and whispers a couple weeks, maybe a month or two ago.
It's been a couple of months.
Yeah, that there was a Scorpion's Revenge sequel coming. Although we had some inclination way back, because the writer of Scorpion's Revenge is, he would cheekily hint at it on Twitter. Like if you'd ask if there's a sequel coming, he might post in response a winking emoji or something like that. The kind of thing where it's like, I'm not allowed to say, but you'll be happy.
I got these NDAs, tee-hee-hee, but
yeah,
what could I be working upon?
So, but the first official news we got was a bit of synopsis and a cast list. And the synopsis basically described that Shao Kahn would invade Earthrealm in order to provoke the heroes into fighting in another Mortal Kombat tournament. So a lot of people read that and they sort of assumed they were combining MK2 and 3 because the word invasion is in there. But if you really think about it, invading Earthrealm to provoke them into a tournament is what happened to the Shaolin Temple in 2. So it's just MK2.
Well, it's MK2 with a few other things.
Well, yeah, to be fair, this version, we got the cast list, and now we have 2 trailers, so we can see there's a lot of other things in there. So the cast list we got told us that Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Sonya, Jax, Raiden, Scorpion, Kitana, Shang Tsung, Shao Kahn, and actually the voice of Satoshi Hazashi would be returning. So I guess Scorpion will have another flashback to his dead kid. And all of their voice actors would be returning. So that's everyone who was in Scorpion's Revenge except the characters who died. Obviously, Goro's not coming back. And Steve Blum is not returning, at least that we've been told, which suggests Noob Saibot will not yet appear in this one.
Or if he shows, he's not going to say anything.
Right. That's another thing. Reptile and Baraka, notably, didn't have any lines in the first one. So even if they are in this one, like if they come back from the dead, or if the writer claims that since their names are never said in Scorpion's Revenge, those 2 characters don't have to be Reptile and Baraka.
It's a Komodai!
Personally, my stance is what happened to Baraka, that he was standing on a building that collapsed, is totally survivable. Yeah, he just fucking lived. That's what I think, anyway.
Yeah, he didn't appear to have died to me.
Yeah, also Kano doesn't appear to be returning, which, to be fair, it kind of looked like he might have died in the last one. Jax kind of stomped his face in.
It was ambiguous.
Yeah. I'm not going to rule out Kano could come back in the third one. but he just doesn't appear to be on the cast list of this one. His voice actor does. So I'll get to the new characters that are announced or were announced so far. So Kung Lao, Melina, who'll be played by the same voice actress as Katana, Gray Delisle Griffin, Gray Griffin. Kuai Liang, who's not being voiced by Steve Blum. The Lin Kuei Grandmaster, as well as Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke. Jade, Kintaro, and here's some interesting ones. Stryker, played by Matt Mercer. Reiko, Devora, Shinnok, and the One Being.
Not just MK2. Not just.
Right. And so like I said, Kano's not returning, but his voice actor is, because Kano's voice actor, Robin Atkin Downs, was also credited as playing Shinnok in the first one, but Shinnok didn't appear, so he must have been a deleted scene or something.
Had to have been.
But yeah, he's the one who's playing Shinnok in this one too. So yeah, it looks like we're getting the entire MK2 cast except Reptile Baraka and Noob Saibot, and then a bunch of extras. But I want you to remember what I said about Baraka, because he appears in the trailer. Or at least a Tarkatan who looks like him. And I know that in past video games all the Tarkatans looked alike. But no, this literally looks like all of the grunt Tarkatans actually have their own designs in this with like ponytails and stuff. And there's one guy who sticks out as looking exactly like Baraka's character model from Scorpion's Revenge come back. Like he's wearing the same clothes and everything.
It was just a collapsed building. He's fine.
Yeah. So obviously Stryker being in this one is a little weird. I'm very curious to see how they're going to fit a New York cop into the MK2 tournament when it doesn't appear that any of the attacking will be happening at New York.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
We will go frame by frame through both the Green Band and Red Band trailer. But yeah, so Reiko and Devora obviously working members of Shao Kahn's army. You can throw in there. Shinnok and the One Being was an interesting reveal. At first, I just assumed that we'd probably get some more flashbacks about the origins of the realms and the key that Scorpion stole in the first movie. But then we got another press release that revealed that while the A plot of the film would be the MK2 tournament, there's a B plot about Scorpion finding the 6 Kamidogus before someone else can find them and use them to bring the One Being back. So we're getting a bit of deception in this as well, which is curious.
There appears to be so much stuff tangential to Scorpion and Sub-Zero's storyline. There's a lot going on for both of them here. I've really got to wonder how they're going to make it fit together.
And obviously, like people are always going to complain about differences from the source material, and we have certainly done plenty of that in reviewing other things. But you also have to think about like what actually serves the plot. So like one of the things that bothered me about MK9 is that, okay, you have a universe where Bihan wasn't at the first tournament to assassinate Shang Tsung. So there's no unfinished mission for his brother to take up in the second one. Okay? He was hired by Shang, and that contract ended when that tournament ended in that universe. So obviously Kuai Liang has an acceptable reason to come to MK2. He's saying, look, they wouldn't tell me who murdered my brothers, so Shang would know because it was his tournament, so I have to find him and interrogate him, so that's why I'm here. But why is Scorpion at MK2? He's kind of not until Sub-Zero demands to face him. And then Quan Chi summons him. And Scorpion's like, "You're not Sub-Zero. I don't want to be here. Fuck off with this." So that makes some sense. But the fact that Quan Chi was there and that Sub-Zero had the ability to fight Scorpion at a tournament Scorpion had no reason to be at was all very contrived. And so that aspect of MK9 bothered me, where they're changing the lore, but still trying to have the same characters in the same situations, and it just doesn't work. So if you're going to operate from a position of Kuai Liang has no reason to be at the MK2 tournament, he has no mission of his brothers left unfinished to finish for him, then you need to come up with something else for Scorpion and Sub-Zero to do. They shouldn't be at the MK2 tournament if they don't have a reason to be there. They should be doing something else. So I am open to this scenario where Scorpion taking Shinnok's amulet has led him to be like the guy who Raiden gives this other mission that is related to Shinnok. And that while he's doing that, he bumps into Sub-Zero.
You know when I mind diversions from the source material?
Go ahead.
When it sucks.
Yeah, basically.
So all there is to it. I went into MK9 with an open mind. Some things are okay, some things were not. I didn't dislike the storyline beats because they were different than, 2 or 3. I disliked them because they were executed poorly.
I've given reviews of 9 where I tried to point out that, like, I avoided any criticisms that were because it's not like the originals. I pointed out ways where it wasn't consistent to itself, where it was just badly acted, or the plot didn't make sense on its own merits, regardless of it being a reboot. Just self-contained problems. And I've done the same thing with the 2021 movie. So, like, it's not hypocrisy if we're okay with changes, as long as the changes make some fucking sense.
That's all I'm saying.
There's also character relationships too, right? I think my big problem with MK9 Sub-Zero, if Sub-Zero is not there to assassinate Shang Tsung and is hired by Shang Tsung, then Sub-Zero doesn't really have anyone to work with. He's not with the Earth Warriors. He's not spending time with Raiden. Really, Sub-Zero didn't do anything in MK9 but die, essentially, and talk some shit.
The only reason he was actually
problem.
there was to just find his dead brother. Wasn't official business or anything.
Well, I should clarify. I mean,
was there to talk shit and die.
Yeah, Bihan's who I'm referring to in this case.
So to continue, I am open to the setup of Scorpion and Sub-Zero having their own disconnected B-plot that involves the Kami Dogu and Shinnok and the One Being. I'm curious to see where that goes. I'm still, obviously one of our big praising points of Scorpion's Revenge was how much of MK1 it got right. And one of the big complaints everybody has about Scorpion's Revenge was the huge deviation of it's not a tournament, it's a Hunger Games, which they only did because they didn't have enough screen time to fit a bracket in.
And Goro being stabbed in the back of the head.
And Goro dying in one hit to Scorpion at the end. That's the main complaint everybody has, was Goro dying to Scorpion instead of Liu Kang beating him. Which I absolutely understand, and I'm not happy with either. But I'm willing to not let that one scene taint the whole rest of the movie for me. Because there is a whole rest of the movie.
It's a fault, but it's ultimately acknowledged, and they knew that reaction was coming because they even say Liu Kang's ultimate destiny is to defeat
that's the
Shao
other thing.
Kahn. They knew.
I don't like it, but I I forgive it because I understand and somewhat agree with one of the reasons they did it, which was that they want Liu Kang to be built up, to have a character arc of getting stronger and not just start out as the Mary Sue. I appreciate that idea because one of the biggest complaints about the first 4 games, and the reason Liu Kang was killed off in Deadly Alliance, and the reason Liu Kang and Kitana were written like shit in MK9 and X, is because him having a 4-game winning streak in the old timeline was not popular. So if you space out Liu Kang's wins better and show him building up to it better, if you give him the Rocky Balboa arc where he has to start at the bottom and get there, people will appreciate it more. So the reason I say this about Scorpion's Revenge is because it looks like Battle of the Realms is going to change quite a bit more from MK2 than Scorpion's Revenge changed from MK1. And I want us to be prepared for that emotionally, because I'm not sure I agree with every change, but I do think a lot of the things I'm seeing are exciting and interesting. I'm positive about most of it. So we'll get to the stuff that I'm wary about as we go. So now I want to get into the scene by scene of the 2 trailers we've gotten.
I'm just gonna say this. If I'm running down a list of things I expect to see in MK2, it's an actual Outworld tournament. We appear to be doing this, and it's never been done before, and you don't know how happy that makes me to see that.
Yeah.
Adapted for the first time.
That is...
There is some sort of confrontation between Scorpion and Sub-Zero about his brother's death.
Indeed.
Plenty of room for that still. Kitana murdering Melina. No idea yet. We'll see. We haven't even seen the Lady in Purple.
Yeah.
Some sort of fight against Shang Tsung and Kintaro and Shao Kahn at the end. Those are the major story beats. There's a lot more minutiae, like, Sub-Zero probably spared Reptile's life, and that's why Scorpion realized, hey, this isn't the guy that killed my brother. But I don't think we need 100% of it. It would be nice, but I'm not expecting it.
Again, as long as, so, like you said, as long as they hit like some of the major beats, and there are some things that I'm really excited to see that we've already got hints of in the trailer. But just the biggest thing, the biggest exciting thing about this is that this is the first time we've ever gotten Mortal Kombat 2 adapted at all in media.
How many decades has it taken?
This is the first time we've ever seen Kintaro in TV or film. Ever.
How? What took us so... It's... I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this.
Threshold adapted MK1 and MK3 multiple times. Nobody ever touched 2. We're finally getting something that's making 2. And that's... How can I not look forward to that?
Breathe it. Inhale it. Smell it. Take it in.
Mm.
Smells like burning corpses.
So, scene by scene through the trailers.
Let's.
So, the trailers are... The 2 trailers, the green band and the red band, are mostly the same, except for a couple scenes. So I'm going to cover the differences as I go, rather than just do the green band first and then do the red band second. So anyway, the green band trailer starts with us seeing Liu Kang fighting Shao Kahn in Khan's arena. It's just kind of spoiling the ending for us right at the beginning of the trailer. But we all know that's how it's going to lead up to, so they're kind of confirming to us that this is the Liu Kang is the hero movie by opening on this shot.
I'd like to point something out here.
Yep.
obviously this version of Khan's Coliseum is taken from 9, but if you look closely up at the very top, you can still see those like boxes with the spikes at the top.
Yeah,
From the MK2 version of his arena.
The pagoda shaped skyboxes at the top of the yeah. There's it's a combination of 9 and 2's arenas, which I appreciate. Like even Khan's throne, it has the goat horned skull from 9, but they kind of raised it up on a pillar, and the actual chair that Khan sits in is the chair with the 3 spikes on the back. And I really appreciate these artistic references because I'm not a huge fan of the MK9 arena. So any bringing back elements from 2 that you can fit in there are nice. Also, we see a lot of the Outworld sky. Pretty much the entire trailer, the Outworld sky is like orange with purple clouds. It's like all very California sunset colors.
Well, if you have to pick like a look for it, that's not
Well, here's the
like
thing.
that's not like those are basically the colors of
Yeah.
Khan's arena in MK2 in the sky.
I mean, the point I would raise is if your natural inclination is to complain that Outworld's not purple, I would just point out, well, Outworld's purple at night, Outworld's orange in the daytime.
Right.
And that's basically, and just as long as the sky's not blue, I'm happy. All right, all right. That's all I need. It still looks like MK2 to me. And besides, we saw Khan's castle in a flashback when Shang was narrating in Scorpion's Revenge, and we saw it at night with a purple sky. We see the exact same castle, like all of the designs, all of the costumes, the voice acting, the continuity between this movie and Scorpion's Revenge is there. Like it feels like more of the same movie. They didn't change anything between, which we're so used to NRS like changing the way things look between games, so there's no visual continuity, and the voice actors keep changing, so there's no continuity there, and it's just really frustrating. It's just really nice.
This consistency is like unfamiliar but welcome and strange. It's like an unexpected prostate massage.
Yeah.
It's almost invasive, not quite.
Well, that wasn't the metaphor I would have gone for, but all right.
Keeping it fresh, keeping us awake. It's late.
After the Shao Kahn fight, we have shots of Kahn.
There's other stuff. So the Liu Kang fight that it opens on, Liu's left arm is covered in like black and glowing red cracks. Like there's something wrong with his arm, like it's wounded or magically cursed or something. And it's interesting because later in the trailer we see him fighting Shang Tsung, and he starts the Shang fight with 2 normal arms. And then there's a shot where he's beating Shang up and he has the curse on the arm. So apparently this is something Shang does to him during their fight. So I'm curious to see what that is and where they're going with it.
So there's going to be some kind of endurance around here between Shang Tsung and then Shao Kahn.
It certainly appears that the progression is Liu's going to fight Shang then Kahn, because Liu doesn't fight Kintaro. We see in the Red Band trailer someone else fights Kintaro.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. So
it's not a straight 1, 2, 3 series of battles with one guy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to be. This is still pretty good. This is exactly what I'm hoping for. Liu fighting his, personal nemesis, and then rising to meet his destiny.
Right. So, the way the Red Band trailer opens, instead of this scene, is a scene of a Chinese couple carrying a baby, running and hiding in city alleyways from what turns out to be a group of Tarkatans who kill the 2 parents, and then before one of them can grab the baby, Raiden arrives and blows them up, bloody and violently attacks them all, and then he picks up the baby. And apparently, I mean, obviously, this is Liu Kang's origin story in this universe. And we had some comments on our Discord. People found it silly that he basically has Batman's origin.
I'm going to speak to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to that. Having dead parents is a common trope. And all this speaks to is how overexposed Batman is and how quickly we go to him whenever someone says the word orphan.
So I think,
granted, them dying in an alley lends itself to it a little bit. I can't disagree with that.
It's because it's a city alley, I think. But also, like, I was kind of surprised how many people in our Discord didn't know Liu Kang canonically has always been an orphan. Like, if you look at those John Tobias comic MK1 character bios, it specifically says Li Kang and Lin Kang are deceased. Liu Kang's origin story has always been that he lost his parents at a young age and was adopted by the Shaolin Temple. They mention it in the 95 movie. They mention it in MK9 in his bio. He's always been an orphan. We don't know what killed his parents. It could have been, I don't know, bandits on the street. It could have been a car crash. I am surprised that it took until the year 2021 for someone to suggest that it was a deliberate outworld attack.
It opens up new interesting avenues, doesn't it?
It certainly plays into the fact that he has a chosen one destiny.
And the logical thing to do would be to try to...
Yeah, it suggests that these Tarkatans were sent to kill this baby because somebody knew it would grow up to be Liu Kang.
I honestly think that's super silly. Maybe if they didn't do it in a dark alleyway in a city.
Well, here's the thing. Mortal Kombat 1 originally took place in the year 1992. That meant Liu Kang was born in the late 60s or early 70s. So the circumstances of his parents' death would have been more likely to have happened in a primitive-looking village or in the wilderness. But this is obviously being said in the present day for a modern audience, so that's why it's happening in a city alley.
I'm not saying the Batman parallels are not there. They are, just a little bit. But at least they're not actually going, "Give me your pearls, lady."
Maybe, but they might as well be. I mean,
I don't care. I think the Batman comparisons are okay when joking, but if it actually bothers you, you probably are taking it too seriously.
Am I?
I don't know. Does it genuinely bother you?
Kinda. I mean, like I'm not like screaming at the top of my lungs that it's awful and it's ruined the whole movie.
Well,
but I do think I don't think it's a very smart decision.
I get it, but it affects nothing. The most annoying part of it is that it draws your mind to what? Batman for a second.
All I'm saying is that I myself am a writer with a vested interest in the Mortal Kombat universe and a desire to write my own iteration of it. I could see myself writing of Liu Kang origin where his parents were killed on purpose because he's destined to be the chosen one.
Right. I'm not saying that that's the aspect that I dislike. It's the setting. It's the fact that I'd have to look at the red band. Are they like wearing like suits or something like that?
His dad is.
The dad is wearing a suit, but that just means he's an Asian businessman.
Right.
She's not wearing a string of pearls, I swear to God.
No, they don't look dressed that fancy. Also of note is that Liu's dad pulls a knife and tries to fight the Tarkatans.
Eat shit, Thomas Wayne.
I don't think a rich guy would do that.
I mean, Thomas has tried to punch Joe Chill before, right?
Yeah, but he doesn't carry a pocket knife. Rich people don't carry pocket knives. Anyway, so from that scene, both trailers cut to we see Johnny, Sonya, and Liu Kang in the woods. There's tents around at some kind of campsite, and they're being attacked by Tarkatans. And this is where Shao Kahn arrives on Earth. And Raiden arrives too, and Shao Kahn invites them to the tournament.
Can I bring some? I think it's kind of odd that Khan is allowed to step foot on Earth.
Well, that is an interesting
Yeah,
thing to
it's a
point
little
out.
strange.
Shao
I'll give it
Kahn
that.
is usually not allowed to set foot on Earth. That's one of the things that the tournament is supposed to allow in the first place. Like, you have to win it first before you can even come here.
There's a lot of fuckery about who exactly can come through and when, and a lot of it depends on purpose.
Right.
And I think that this is going to use the same logic that the Mortal Kombat 2 comic got away with. Rather, that Shang Tsung got away with. He was able to sneak in and, like, fuck people's shit up because he used the pretext of offering a challenge.
Yeah. And,
that's how he gets away with it, and I think that's how Khan gets away with it here.
We will see later in the trailer that Raiden and Khan are going to go before the Elder Gods and speak to them. And I think that scene, whatever dialogue happens in that scene, will probably justify the scene where Shao Kahn is able to set foot on Earth, because he's only there to challenge them to a tournament. But I wanted to point out that when Khan comes to challenge them, they are at this campsite in the woods. They're not in the Shaolin Temple proper. Because the next thing we see is a apparently completely separate sequence where an army of Netherrealm Oni are attacking the Shaolin Temple, or at least a temple with White Lotus monks. Because in the red band we can see the monks, and they're wearing white robes with the White Lotus logo on them. And with them, we see Kung Lao, Jax, and Stryker. Like we see Johnny, Sonya, Liu, and Raiden by themselves in the camp scene, and then we see Kung Lao, Jax, and Stryker by themselves defending the temple walls in the scene with the Oni. So there's two separate realms staging two separate invasions at the same time for some reason.
I don't think that that's true. I'm looking at it again right now. In this shot of the Oni dying, I'm seeing like bone protrusions of a Tarkatan in the foreground.
Show me what shot. Can you take a screenshot real quick?
Yeah. Hold on a minute.
Because I was like, in the red band, there's a lot of shots of another sequence where Jax is fighting Tarkatans on a wall. I don't think it's the same wall. Because there's a lot of, I want to talk about, like, we had some of this with the Scorpion's Revenge trailer, where they will use tricky editing to make two scenes look like they're the same scene, but when you watch the movie, they were in two separate places. Or like they will put shots of a fight, and then they'll put in X-rays from a completely different fight in the trailer. And they do that in this trailer too. Because so after the shots of the Oni and Kung Lao, Jax, and Stryker on the wall, we see a shot of Jax defending a wall. He's like turned his bionic arms into machine guns, like the hands become gun barrels. So he's got like transforming arms, which I think is a neat touch.
Those things can pretty much turn into anything.
Yeah, if you're gonna go with this version of the story where his arms were ripped off and the metal ones are fully prosthetic, they should be able to transform because they're hollow inside. They don't have arms in there that you have to maintain the shape of.
Exactly.
He should be able to turn them into guns and knives and things.
I like the fact that he perforates the Tarkatan's head.
Screenshot.
I like the fact that he perforates the Tarkatan's head so much it kind of like inflates and pops.
Okay, so I don't think these bone spurs are Tarkatans. I think those are just demons that also have bone spurs.
Okay.
There's
Then
lava
what about
on them.
these?
We've seen that
Yeah,
they
they
bleed
are-
lava.
Yeah, these demons are bleeding lava like not Moloch did in the previous movie.
Okay, but I'm seeing there's like Tarkatans behind him
No,
after he
there's
falls. What
there's
are these?
something behind them. It's too small to say. I don't know that those are Tarkatan.
They look like what they usually wear in with the other Tarkatan NPCs here.
I don't know. They're way in the background. They're blurry. I'll wait to see.
They also look kind of pale.
They
Anyway.
could be Tarkatans, but I'm inclined to think the demons and the Tarkatans are two separate armies attacking at two separate times.
I'm looking at these Tarkatans in with the group shot with Shao Kahn and Reiko and shit. They're wearing the same armor as the ones in the background where the Oni is dying.
We'll see.
Same hip and shoulder armor.
We'll see. I think it's still worthy of note that there's an army of Oni and that they're attacking a separate location. I think that's worth talking about.
I kind of feel that if the Oni come from somewhere, it's going to be from Scorpion's half of the story. Wherever
Right.
he's off doing stuff.
Well, so there's other scenes where we see demons attacking the Lin Kuei Temple and Scorpion fighting demons in another realm.
Yeah.
So it's all obviously there's a Shinnok B plot about the Kamidogus. But I think it's going to be interesting that Shinnok chooses while Shao Kahn is doing his thing to do his thing at the same time. I think it's going to be not a coincidence. So anyway, then we see
For all we know, they broker an agreement or something, and like Shao Kahn gets some bonus demon backup. Who knows?
I mean, it's possible they're working together. We'll see. But then we see Scorpion and Raiden talking at the Wuxi Academy. And this is, I presume, Raiden is the one who sends Scorpion to get the 6 Kamidogu before Shinnok can get them. Like, if I was to guess, I would say the reason an army of Oni is attacking the Shaolin Temple is because the Shaolin are guarding one of the Kamidogus. And maybe they succeed in stealing it, and so Raiden is like, hey, Scorpion, you've already thwarted Shinnok's plans once. You've got the key. Would you be willing to go on this mission to find these other artifacts before Shinnok's army can get them?
Also, bit of props. It's the same Wuxi Academy stage as Deadly Alliance.
Well, yeah, it is the Wuxi Academy. There's only one design for the Wuxi Academy. If it was not that design, I would have just called it the Shaolin Temple.
I love how they do their homework, how they pay attention to stuff.
Yeah. But what's interesting in the scene where Raiden is talking to Scorpion, and you will see this at other points in the trailer, is that Raiden has a costume change during this movie. He starts out wearing the same outfit he was wearing in Scorpion's Revenge, and then he switches to the simpler blue V from MK9. And when he's wearing that outfit, you can see the pupils in his eyes. And in the other scenes where we see him wearing this outfit with visible pupils, he's fighting in the tournament.
Someone gave up their immortality.
The Elder Gods must have made him take on a mortal form in order to compete in Mortal Kombat 2. I'm excited to see that, because
Raiden
we never get
fighting in a thing.
Yeah, we never get to see Raiden fight in the fucking tournament.
I think that might be the aspect I am most excited to see. We haven't gotten to see Raiden fight in anything since Conquest, maybe.
Not only do we see him fight, we see him beating Reiko's ass.
Been a hard year for Reiko fans.
I mean, look, Reiko has a voice actor, which means he's going to get lines.
That is more than the other thing gave him.
I don't think it's going to be that bad of a year for Reiko fans.
It's also a smart matchup too. Reiko and Raiden would be a good fight. That's I think the whole point of doing
Yeah.
a tournament arc is to match characters who would have good dynamics. Reiko and Raiden.
Reiko is the general. And one of the things, like, it does not bother me to see Reiko die if he's working for Shao Kahn, because as long as it's taking place before the MK4 point of the narrative, the Reiko I know best is an undead guy who works for Shinnok. So narratively, he has to die at some point to get there.
Yeah, Reiko should die, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, if we're just talking in terms of like exposure, it's Reiko year, one way or
It
another.
is. It
Re-
is really
Reiko-
Reiko's year.
Reiko hasn't like had this much exposure maybe ever. It's a
It does
beautiful
kind
thing.
of.
He was in Conquest.
I do have to wonder, like, if you keep putting Reiko and Nitara in things, does that mean NRS eventually has to acknowledge them and put them in games again?
No. Everyone point and laugh.
Wouldn't that be nice,
know.
though?
I know they will stand defiant in the face of what we want, but a man can hope. But anyway, so after the scene with Raiden talking to Scorpion at the Wuxi Academy, in the trailers, we see a sequence of characters sort of getting ready to fight. We see like Kung Lao strike a pose and Katana strikes a pose,
He's got
and
his
then we
aw-
see
He's got his awesome long ass braid here.
yeah,
That.
it's the MK Shaolin Monk /9 outfit, but he has a long braided ponytail.
It looks good.
I like it.
I don't know why that makes me so happy. It's like this one little extra like accoutrement throws the whole thing together in like good relief.
But in the sequence of like introducing these characters shots, the one that's most interesting to me is we see another shot of Jax turning his hands into gun barrels. But in this shot, behind him there is a mix of like wrecked and leaning city skyscrapers mixed with like Asian looking buildings with like pagoda roofs. And if I was to guess, I think this scene might actually be like, this is one of those things where they take things out of order and put them wherever they want the trailer to trick us. I think that shot might come from the end of the movie when the MK3 invasion starts. Like, they win the tournament, they get home, and the last scene is, oh shit, invasion. And they end in like an action shot of them fighting in the streets or something.
Maybe. Things don't look right back there.
Because this is the only shot in the whole thing where we see like city buildings. But then we see that there's a shot of like all the heroes assembled talking about going to the tournament, and Stryker is there, and we get to hear Matt Mercer deliver some lines. So Stryker's presence is just very curious to me in this movie, because first of all, how did he get there? And second, what are the odds he's only here? They had to pick some good guys who they could kill off, right?
All right. Further on in this trailer, there's a couple of moments. You can very briefly see in Khan's arena Stryker fighting himself.
Yeah, it's
Doesn't
Shang Tsung
take a
morphed
genius
into
to figure out
him.
who that is.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
another clip of Shang Tsung saying, "You're next."
Yeah.
Put two and
So-
two together.
It sounds an awful lot like Shang kills Stryker in the tournament.
But I don't think that he's like a Slipknot in Suicide Squad. Like, he's not just gonna like show up, oh hi Stryker, and then die like 5 seconds later.
He's gonna
I
get a
think
couple
he's
of good fights.
He's gonna get he's gonna get his due, I think, before dying.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Which-
I don't know that he'll get like any fighting to do before the fight with Shang, but I think he'll like just the fact that he gets a little bit of dialogue is something. My concern isn't that you're putting Stryker in the movie just because you need someone to die. That doesn't bother me so much. My concern is that if you do the New York cop now, then when you do the city invasion, it's a little less like you don't have a character who's from the city anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say that Stryker
That's
doesn't
what
work
bugs
as
me.
well in Outworld.
That's what bugs me.
It'll be an unfortunate missing piece, but it's really not like he brings anything else to the table apart from being the guy that just happened to be on the ground wandering around going, what the fuck, while things happen around him.
Well, I feel like that's an important thing to have, is the guy whose eyes we see the invasion happen through when the invasion starts. I feel like you need one of those. And I don't know who it is if it's not Stryker. Because
Cabal?
I guess it could be Cabal.
Maybe.
I guess it could be Cabal, because Cabal will never not be a cop anymore. Fuck. It's going to be Cabal.
Well, maybe. I mean, that would be the worst thing that's ever happened to Cabal if that did
You know
happen.
what? That wouldn't be the worst thing that's ever happened. You're right. As long as Cabal's like a good guy in one of these movies, that's a better Cabal than we've gotten in a while.
Unless they go straight to Chaos Priest. I don't think they're going to do that.
I doubt it.
If they take the 9 tact of things and, like, have him, like, fighting against the invasion, that's how he gets burned, the way it happened in 9. Okay, fine. I can deal with it.
I think the most interesting thing about Stryker is finding out how he gets there in the first place, which I'm curious how they're going to explain.
What are the circumstances where a cop gets invited to the tournament?
Yeah, that's a big question mark.
Shallon Cup.
Because like they kept it's his MK9 costume design. He has the badge around his neck. Like if it were me and I was like struggling for how can I fit Stryker into MK2, I would change him from a cop to a special forces agent. And they didn't do that. So now I'm like, so who brings Stryker to the party?
Maybe he's a liaison or something.
Well, he also is confused too. It's like, what am I doing here? What tournament? I think that's a very strange reaction.
He seems to be hanging out with Johnny Cage, but I only say that because Johnny leans on him and says some quippy one-liner to him. That doesn't mean that he's actually hanging out with Johnny Cage, but Johnny or Sonya is like the only person who I could see it making sense to be with him when bad things start happening and they get invited, and he's like, okay, you were here with us when we were attacked, so you can come along too. I'm interested to see how the fuck Stryker gets involved.
Maybe Raiden is already doing his Chosen One MK3 thing. Maybe that's how they hypercondense it.
I would have gone with Nightwolf if they were going that direction.
I feel like Nightwolf is really, really important to the plot of MK3. So if I was deciding when characters are introduced as I'm making these, I would definitely not put Nightwolf in 2.
Was that because he's going to die, or
he doesn't appear to be around? So I think you're getting your wish.
I mean, that's part of it, because obviously whoever they pick in Stryker's place, if they didn't pick Stryker, was a guy they picked to die. But I think the plot of 3 needs a non-Raiden mystical good guy sorcerer. I think he's important to I've always imagined that Nightwolf was the key to maybe freeing Sindel from mind control or something like that, because he is the guy who would know about such magics.
I still leave that role up to Katana.
Like obviously in 9, Nightwolf's main role was to stop the Soul NATO from being created, which is also something like because his magic ties into the spirit world, he could also be the one who like senses what Shao Kahn is trying to do while he's invading and knows where to go to stop it and what spells to cast to prevent it from happening and that kind of thing. Like that's another place you could use him. I just feel that Stryker's status as the good guy magic man is needed during the invasion, and it's not needed during either of the tournaments.
You mean
I do agree with that.
Nightwolf, not Stryker. You said Stryker.
Nightwolf.
Well, yeah, I mean, as Stryker, I agree with that. All right, well, I'm sorry, now I'm confused. But whatever you said, I agree with. But I want to add to that I would not. I still hope he doesn't die. I'd be happy if Stryker does not die. I understand he probably will die, but if I could vote, I would vote not death for Stryker. I do like Stryker. I would really like him to be in MK3 if they make one, and they probably will.
It would be nice, but I don't think we're gonna get there. Also, his
Yeah,
chin,
I don't think we will either.
also his chin appears to be made of Jenga blocks. I just want to put that out there.
You know, I wasn't sure when to bring it up. I think some of the animation is worse. It's been a long time since I've seen Scorpion's Revenge, but I thought it looked better than this.
The art style has always been particularly angular. One of the things about the Stryker design that I found curious is the way they drew his hat. I can't tell if it's facing forward or backward. The bill kind of blends into the rest of the
I need it
hat.
to be backwards. I so need it to be backwards. I know it won't be.
It's forwards. It's forwards. I'm seeing it right now.
That's a shame.
It's forwards, but it looks backwards at points.
Well, I'm just in the shot where they're all standing on the wall and Johnny's leaning on him and quipping. He's facing straight forward, so the bill isn't drawn as like sticking outward. So it just kind of all looks like one. Like the hat would be the same shape no matter which way it's facing.
They do, however, far and away use MK9 and onward costumes. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, they use. One of the things that I really like about these movies is I feel they've done a great job deciding when to use which costume. They use the ones I like and not the ones I don't like. For example, Bihan was MKX primary sub, which is good for me because I never liked that as a Kuai Liang outfit. It looks like Bihan to me. And secondly, I hate the Bihan outfit in MK9. It looks too much like a Noob Saibot outfit. Like he's wearing a skin-tight tank top instead of a ninja V. Shouldn't be dressing like that until after this. Plus he had like gothy belt strapped across his fucking chest.
I actually really liked it.
Let's move on. Let's focus on the trailer.
Right. So next we see the heroes walking into Shao Kahn's throne room from MK9.
Shang appears to be leading them in. There's Raiden just next.
Yeah. And we see an assembled group of the bad guys, and they're all kind of standing in a crowd and like scowling at the heroes, looking at the camera with their arms crossed and doing badass poses or whatever. And the group we see in this shot is Li Mei, Kintaro, Devora, Baraka, Reiko, and Jade. So, like I said, Baraka not dead. I think
unless it's Carbrak. Keep an open mind.
It appears to be the guy from Scorpion's Revenge wearing the same clothes he wore in Scorpion's Revenge.
It does look exactly like it, yeah.
Yeah. But the most noticeable thing, everybody's going to be talking about it, everybody has been talking about it, is Li Mei in this group. And I know Temp has opinions on that, so this
Take it away, sir.
I really don't want to say much. It's also not my favorite conversation. It's because I feel like I've been defending Li Mei forever. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, which is so weird. I'll say why that's weird in a second. But the shortest thing I can say. Well, I'm sorry. I'll let you go first.
I was just gonna say that I have kind of been arguing against you in some of the Discord stuff, but I actually mostly agree with you, and I've just kind of been playing wait and see with it, like a little bit of devil's advocate. But I am not comfortable with Li Mei being in this movie either.
Neither am I.
And I like the costume, believe it or not. I don't know if it makes sense, but I do think she looks good.
It's her alternate from Deception. It's the armory one with the helmet.
It's actually both. It's both kind of merged together because she has the bikini costume armor on the shoulders and the open thighs, but she's got the headdress, I guess, as well.
Yeah, she's got the helmet. Well, so when I compare the two outfits, the things that I define the primary by are that she's wearing a bandana and that her bra looks like dragon wings. And she doesn't have either of those in the alternate, and she doesn't have either of those in this movie. It's just plain and generic silver and purple armor.
It sounds strange, but what they took from that costume was the skin, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
They took the visibility of the...
Just looking at her in this group shot, how is she wearing underwear?
Well,
Where does
I
it
don't
go?
think she is, Shad.
I feel like it kind of looks like she's wearing the same Ibuki pants that Katana has,
Yeah.
and then she's got some armor over top of it.
Maybe.
That's what it looks like to me, anyway.
It seems consistent with what we know about Lee May. No, I'm not saying it's canon that she doesn't wear underwear, but generally she was supposed to be a bombshell, so that's the spirit of what we're looking at here. If we wanted an Outworld competitor, I'll start with this. There's a few other characters I would have done first. The first two, I don't think are going to be popular choices, but I think it would have been better than Lee May. One is Chameleon with a K. I think Chameleon with a K would have been a better choice than Lee May if we're going for an Outworld contender. The other one I would have chosen, if we want a throwaway character that is just there for Sonya to murder, I would have picked Meat. I think that would have been a better choice. The third choice, and maybe there's something I'm missing, but the third choice would have been Melina. Why would it not be Melina?
Yeah,
I mean, obviously,
I feel like
if it was Melina,
not.
if it was Melina, then like you couldn't have Sonya be the one to kill her. But I don't think you need a fatality in that fight anyway. Why can't Sonya just injure Melina, and then there's a scene later where Shao Kahn is disappointed in her and is like, "This is your last chance to fucking please me, daughter, or I'll throw you in the fucking trash. You better watch Katana and make sure she's not like secretly meeting with the good guys." And then Katana's secretly meeting with the good guys, and then Katana's the one that kills her, like in the original MK2.
No, you're never gonna get that. Mortal Kombat's violence and death and blood and gore have overshadowed absolutely every other aspect of its existence. They're all gonna die at the end of a fight. It's what we do now.
But that's the thing, is that the fight still happens. There's still a fatality in that movie. It's just Katana doing it instead of Sonya doing it.
I don't know, man.
That's what bothers me.
That is the question. Why is Lee May here and Melina not? I will hard disagree with Temp about A, Chameleon with a K, because it should be with a C, because that fucker actually works for Khan.
Well, I'll take that too.
Well,
I mean, that's a good choice as well. But
they wanted Sonya to fight another female for some reason.
Well, I mean, I think it's just they didn't know what to do with her. I don't think they put that much thought into it. I thought,
honestly. So here's the thing: is the logic behind.
There is room for Melina to be right here on this screen, standing next to Reiko and Baraka and Jade and Kintaro and Devora for some fucking reason.
I was gonna wait and bring it up till later, but the fact that Melina is announced in the voice cast, but we don't see her anywhere in the trailers, means they're doing the MK9 origin, and that is one of the things that I have a complaint about. I think it would have been a stronger movie, because it's a stronger story, if she's already alive and has an established history with Katana as her sister.
Yeah, you won't find me arguing that.
As far as Lee May's presence goes, the logic is very similar to the the Nitara cameo in the first one. Everybody thought it was cute to see that little scene where Devora hisses in Johnny's face, and that's all you see of her in the first movie. In the back of my mind, it needled at me a little bit the thought of, why would Nitara ever attend a Mortal Kombat tournament on Outworld's behalf? She does not like Shao Kahn. She does not fight for him. But because the cameo was so small and was mostly there just as like a comedic gag, I forgave it. In this movie, Lee May's presence is the same problem, but now it's full-blown into a fight where she dies. Lee May is not a bad guy. She should not be fighting for Shao Kahn. Now, if in the movie they come up with a story where they're like, she's only fighting for him because he will then show favor to her village and she's just trying to protect her hometown, or, she's being blackmailed into it, or something like that, That would at least be something. But my prediction is that she won't have any dialogue and they won't mention why she's there. She's just another fighter. She is only there to fight Sonya and eat a fatality.
What's
And that's disappointing.
It's disappointing. Yeah, Shad.
What if they make Melina out of her corpse?
That would be weird bullshit because they're the fact that Katana and Melina are sharing a voice actor means she's still a clone of Katana, doesn't it?
Does she still use size? Did we
we
see
don't
using
see any
size?
This feels like a troll, Shad. It feels like you're trolling me,
This
Shad.
feels like a troll.
I am, just a little bit. Sorry, Tim.
No, it's all fun. So going backward, well, let's actually reverse that. I was actually going to mention the chameleon thing, but let me do the Lee May thing first. I think the most important thing when adapting anything is not whether you change or don't change. It's if you get the best emotional notes. And to me, Lee May just doesn't work if she's evil. Or if she's like stoic, that doesn't work either, really.
Yeah,
It's not. She's a naive girl who's good at fighting, who got fucked over really, really badly, and that none of that's here.
The whole premise of the character is that she's Mulan, basically. She's a young martial arts student who just wants to protect her hometown. That's the core of the character.
Which is why it's so strange when people give me like the stink eye when I say my second favorite character is Lee May, because she's a bombshell with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon fighting style. And everyone's like, oh, you like that? What a fucking weirdo, Temp. And that never made sense to me. I always thought that was a very strange reaction. And it's a reaction I've seen, well, over a decade now. It's been a long while. But if I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong about this because her body language just does not communicate. I'm a good character who's fighting because she doesn't have a choice.
She is kind of doing that like scowling smartass smirk when she's fighting Sonya, like she's enjoying the violence.
I feel like we've jumped right into like her under Onaga's mind power version of Lee May. I think we've just tossed the MKD one out the window. It's a shame, but
if they mentioned the Onaga stuff in the movie, I'd be okay with that again, because it would be any explanation at all.
I don't think we're going to get that.
My prediction, is that there's just no explanation.
She's just going to have that kind of personality. That's going to
that's one of the things, like, why I point out, one of the defining traits of that primary costume that she's not wearing is the bra shaped like dragon wings. The bra was shaped like dragon wings because she was falling in love with Onaga at that point.
And I think even though I don't like the outcome of that ending, I do like the curse. I do like the transition of someone not just experienced a tragedy, but was persisting in tragedy. And that's why I love like the storyline of Deception, where she's saved and then later trained by Eric Roberts, and then the story kind of sprouts from there. That's the best part.
By Bo Ray Cho, yes. So
same thing.
That's why like I found Deadly Alliance Lee May boring, but I really like Deception Lee May, and it's because her story is basically the same situation as MK3 Cybersmoke.
I mean that's the thing. That's my whole point. Who's my other favorite character, right?
We feel bad for victims. So moving along, because there are plenty of shots left to discover.
Right.
We have Kintaro. We have Kintaro here.
We do have Kintaro.
I just want to say how great it is to finally see him in something like we've covered. I don't know what to make of those snaggle teeth.
So he has a pronounced underbite, and he has very large pointy ears. I mean, his ears are canonically always pointy, but these ones are particularly elf-like.
He's also got some serious claw going on.
I kind of like it just because his nose is orange, not black. He looks like Kintaro. He doesn't look like bizarre modern cat Kintaro. He looks like Kintaro.
There are feline influences, but it's still the guy that we know.
Yeah.
I'm overall pleased with it. And we have Devora.
Devora's in there. So in the subsequent shots of the tournament fights, we see Johnny fight her, and he does a shadow kick. There's a lot of people who would be pleased to see that Johnny actually does his special moves in this one, because he didn't use any green magic in the first one. So we do get a shadow kick, but we see Johnny fight her, and then we also see Sonya fight her, which makes me think Johnny's going to lose in the tournament, but somehow not die.
What if, though? What if, after all this time, it happened again? I'd be mighty upset if it was Devore that did it, though.
Well, no, let me say this. Let me say this. I'm fairly certain that some of the shots of Johnny hanging out with Jax in the stands take place during the Liu versus Shao Kahn fight.
Good point.
It seems like Johnny survives to the end. But yeah, I wanted to point that out that we see two different people fight the same person because it means the movie has some kind of bracket. Like we might not see the full workings of the bracket, but we definitely see that people are fighting one at a time, and all the fights take place in Shao Kahn's arena. It's not a Hunger Games, it's an actual martial arts tournament. So that's a nice step up from the last one.
So we got Baraka back there scowling. We also have Reiko.
Mm-hmm. Reiko looks like Reiko.
He's really rocking that hawk. I do want to point out, though, that the little skull crest on his chest really looks like it's in the middle of a "you want mate" moment. That's not a skull. That's an angry-ass alien. It is drunk on lager, and it wants a piece. And there's Jade.
You know what? This art style can be a little jank at times.
Just a little bit.
I'll still take it over, like, most modern cartoons. Because at least they all have human proportions with elbows and knees. Nobody's made out of noodle limbs, and their mouths aren't shaped like a fucking lima bean.
And Jade looks good, despite the art style. I love
really
her.
good.
Jade is straight up MK9 Jade, although I'm a little annoyed that her staff glows green instead of purple.
Yeah.
It's the MK11 style staff, which is interesting. It's the only thing these movies have ever taken from 11.
In this still shot, it's not glowing. It just actually seems to be a green stick.
No, it's like a pale jade green. Yeah, but
I can live with that.
Well, there's a fight shot later, her fighting Liu Kang, where you can see that it's got that glass with a green lightning inside it design.
It's not like retractable like it is in MK11. It seems like it's an actual staff this time.
Good.
Yeah.
Anywho.
I actually, you know what? I think I like the way they did her outfit better than in 9. Because it's always kind of bothered me in 9 that there's a radical color change from black to green right at the bottom of her tits to make her tits stick out more. This version, they just colored it a little more like UMK3. But
I like them both. I think they look great.
So moving on, we've got more Johnny and Striker banter.
There's a bit where they say the Elder Gods are speaking, and we see they have called Raiden and Shao Kahn before them, and we see an Elder God turn from a glowing blue dragon into a glowing blue giant man. I thought that was cool that the creators of these know about and are acknowledging the whole their true forms of dragons thing.
Glad someone finally did.
Yeah. And we hear some dialogue of an elder god saying, Lord Raiden chose a child, a soul so pure that he could save the realms. You are that child, Liu Kang. So again, the whole Liu Kang has a destiny, he is the chosen one thing. Interesting to see them sort of make it more pronounced. There's a cute little moment where they show when Raiden has baby Liu, he's like demonstrating a fighting stance to him, like with 2 fingers on his hand, and then it cuts to adult Liu making the same fighting stance in a battle.
That is nice. Yeah.
That's a sweet touch.
It endears me to this version of Raiden. It's the little personality touches that we don't see in the Richard Epcar version.
We have a nice shot in the Green Band trailer at this point, roughly, of Shao Kahn's fortress from the outside.
Yeah.
It's odd to see it during the daytime. I don't know that we ever actually have, or it's been a while. I don't
Well,
remember.
again, it is exactly the same design from the previous movie. It's just that now the sky is orange because it's daylight instead of purple because it's nighttime.
Yeah, it's just such an unfamiliar sight.
Yeah,
But it's nice to actually see it like from a top-down angle a little bit to really take in all the detail and the two pillars next to it.
Yeah, it's particularly, I guess, stands out because the fortress design looks like kind of a mix of the MK3 one with the skull on top and the one you see in Conquest and Annihilation. And every time you saw it in Conquest and Annihilation, it was nighttime. Like, they just reused the same panning establishing shot over and over again. But yeah, we see Liu Kang facing off against Shang in the arena. And it's interesting to me that Shang still has his old man form apparently this entire movie. He is not given his youth back like he was in canon MK2.
I think we're gonna save that for MK3.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we're going to get the premise of this universe is probably going to have Shao Kahn and Shinnok's forces a little more allied than usual. I wouldn't be surprised if Shang Tsung dies in this one and comes back from the dead young, and that's their explanation for how he gets his youth back.
I'll take it. It could work.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly acceptable explanation for, as opposed to just, oh, he shot him with magic and now he's young again. I think that might even slightly make more sense.
Maybe.
It'd be the perfect time to bring back Reptile because you're just doing it early. I mean, that's essentially what Reptile's story is anyway.
Yeah.
He goes to the Netherrealm and becomes a general.
Yeah, I think that's
a little bit.
I mean, that's always been one of the things about Mortal Kombat is because the Netherrealm is an active bad guy force. That's an easy way to bring back characters who've died. And that's kind of something I wanted to see in the remake version of things that they kind of did the wrong way, like they did the Revenants. And the Revenants are all dead good guys who get corrupted. I would have much rather seen them kill a bunch of Outworlders in the invasion and have Shinnok's forces be made of those guys as Revenants, because those guys are already evil, and it fits their personalities to be there, and you don't have to twist anybody into some fucking Injustice Superman version of themselves that I don't want to see. Like, I never asked for an evil Liu Kang, but I'm totally down for Baraka, Reptile, and Melina to be on Shinnok's team.
That basically is like the Mortal Kombat 4 Reptile story, pretty much. He goes to hell. He starts working for
yeah,
Shinnok.
More or less. I mean, they said some wishy-washy bullshit about Sindel banishing him to the Netherrealm. No, that scene should be an execution. You go to the Netherrealm by dying.
I'm pretty sure that staple was in Baraka's head for a reason. So that would have been two characters if they'd seen that through a little bit.
Yeah. So the other thing that's interesting to me about Shang still being an old man is it basically means we're getting the fight we should have got at the end of the last one. Because remember how Shang doesn't fight in Scorpion's Revenge. So it's almost like they just moved that one over. They looked at Liu Kang and Shang Tsung's history and said, well, they fight in 1, they probably fight in 2, and they probably fight in 3. How about we have them fight less times to make it mean more? So they just move their fight from 1 to 2.
It's not a decision I disagree with.
Also, like, even if Shang loses, apparently he does leave a lasting mark on Liu that hinders him in the fight with Khan. I really want to know what that black and red arm is about. I'm very curious to see.
Indeed.
So we get a bunch of flashes of fights. Sonya and Devora, Johnny and Devora, Raiden fighting Kitana, Kitana seems to be kicking Raiden's ass. I think she might eliminate him. Raiden versus Reiko probably happens before that because Raiden is absolutely wailing on Reiko's face.
He looks so angry, and his pupils are so... Man, okay, I'll say this much. Looking at Raiden with, like, pupils, proper eyes, in, like, frozen frames is weird. It's very strange. Try not to stare directly at it. I just, you know... I don't think it's going to matter what game, TV show, movie does it. Raiden with eyes is never going to look right. Here's the
thing that I think about is, like, the reason he looks weird is because he's wearing the cowl. If his hair is out, his eyes don't look weird, because we're kind of used to that. Like, Lambert had visible pupils, and Jeff Meek had visible pupils. I think it just looks funny because of the shape of his head in the cowl. And somehow the white eyes offset it, but if you make his eyes normal, now his head looks funny in that fucking cowl.
Maybe just, like, take the cowl and the hat off, and...
That said, this Raiden doesn't have quite as... This Raiden doesn't have as fat a head as MK11 Raiden, so it doesn't look as weird to me. But I do think it's interesting. So when we see shots of Raiden fighting Reiko in the tournament, we don't see him using any lightning. He's just physical force, and very aggressively so. So it's interesting to see Raiden, who is perhaps deprived of his lightning powers because he's agreed to fight as a mortal, and how he chooses to fight without them. What the style he adopts being so violent.
But does this mean Superman Torpedo is possible? Yes or no?
I hope so. Honestly, I hope he's not completely deprived of his powers, because he's got cool special moves, and I want to see him teleport in the fight and do the body torpedo.
Yeah, just scale him down a little bit.
Yeah, just have his powers be, like, weaker, but not gone. That's basically how it is in the games. But yeah, so then we see Liu Kang fighting Jade, and there was an iconic shot from the first movie where everything was red and very motion linesy, where Scorpion is at, like, his angriest point when he's chopping up Lin Kuei guys trying to save his son. And in this, we see that art style used for Liu Kang uppercutting Jade so hard that her staff breaks. And so there's a lot of people commenting, wondering if Liu Kang is going to kill Jade. I think this is a knockout punch at the end of that fight. I don't think Liu Kang killing Jade serves the Liu and Kitana storyline very well. If Kitana and Jade are still supposed to be best friends, like, that was a narrative problem in Shaolin Monks. All right, that was a bad scene.
It's weird to me that no one brings. Well, I guess it's not that weird, but that was one of my big problems with Shaolin Monks.
Yeah,
and I agree that she's not dead. Jade's alive.
You actively stab her in the eyes, and Kitana's only mad about it for like 10 seconds, and then never mention it again the rest of the game.
You killed my friend, you jerk.
I'm sorry, I had no choice. And then never again. That's fucked up.
Yes.
I don't think a smart writer would ever do that.
It's not that different than what Sub-Zero did to Smoke for like 5 games, so I don't know.
The difference is Sub-Zero thought Smoke was dead.
Yeah, I know. I'm half joking, but from a narrative standpoint, it's unfortunate in both cases.
Well, yeah. I would like, for one, to believe that we're leading Kitana to places where her actions during the 3 period or the invasion will matter. And Jade is kind of a crutch for her at that point in time, so yes, it's a huge waste if she gets killed now. Like, and I really don't want Liu doing it either.
If Jade is ever to have screen time, it happens during 3. So yeah, I really, really doubt she's gonna fucking die here.
Well, I don't think you should kill all your female characters either. You gotta let some of them live, and I hope it's not D'Vorah. Like, that would be unfortunate.
The fact that we see Sonya, of all people, fighting D'Vorah makes me really hopeful that D'Vorah is going to eat a fucking fatality.
That'd be fucking fantastic. That would be great.
Because if you think about things that could actually kill Devore and she'd stay dead, fire is one of the ones that would do it. I hope we get a kiss of death.
Me too. Immediately following the scene with Jade, well, it varies depending on the trailer, but in the Green Band one, we have a quick shot of this fiery cavern filled with dragon sculptures.
Yeah, there's some kind of underground shrine, and floating there is the Earthrealm Kamidogu, which is the Deception design. They're not daggers.
They're not fucking daggers. Rejoice!
They're the ones from Deception. I'm very happy with that. I'm very pleased.
Relieved.
And so we only see a very brief shot of this cavern at first, but at the very end of the trailer, we see Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting there. So I'll come back to that thought later. But after we see that shot,
we cut to somewhere else.
Well, before that, in the rapid shots of fighting, the Red Band trailer has a shot the Green Band doesn't, which is Jax doing the arm rip to Kintaro.
Yeah, we should probably put a spoiler warning at some point.
You know what?
Go back.
If the trailer isn't gonna start with a spoiler warning, what can I do?
Yeah, no one warned me. I would have skipped that had I known, but
well, here's what I'll say about it. I predicted this exact scene. I had a feeling that because Goro was the one to take Jax's arms, Jax would be the one to fight Kintaro, and Jax would do the arm rip fatality. I feel like it's that kind of... It's like poetry, it rhymes, you know?
My poor boy. He was never not going to be butchered. Never.
I mean, I believe Kintaro canonically died at MK2 anyway, so... Well, I have no problem with this.
That's nice for you, but I choose to believe he did. Anyway. So, shortly after the cavern shot...
we get a shot of...
We get Cyrax, Sector, and an unconscious and tied up Smoke.
Yeah, we get the Cyber Initiative, baby.
Smoke has been captured. Think about it.
Not dead.
Think
not
about
dead.
what this means.
Knocked out and tied up. We're gonna get Cyber Smoke. Cyber Smoke in the next one. We're gonna get Cyber Smoke.
He's so happy. He's like a puppy. Look at him.
I'm curious what color he'll be. I'm excited.
I don't think I've ever seen Razor this happy.
I will forgive if he's gray instead of purple. I'm just fucking happy to see him.
Look, man. You know me. You know how I feel about the character. I love him any which way. I have a preference for the human variety, but, you know, it is that original story which helped to endear me to him a great deal. You know?
Look, I make the same argument every time. At the end of the day, the Cyber Initiative story is about how it affects Sub-Zero. So if the people being turned into robots, if at least one of them isn't close to Sub-Zero, then the emotion isn't there. It's just a guy being hunted by some assassin. It's just Terminator.
It is also inherently a story that is about, like, resistance to technology. There's subtext there. There's subtext of dehumanization. Right.
That's what
attracted us to it.
Like, that's the other thing about it, is the reason that Smoke is my favorite character in that story is half because that's what makes the story affect Sub-Zero, and it's half because the story at the end is about Smoke resisting.
Yep.
And getting his free will back.
God, and I hope we see this.
That doesn't work for me when it's Cyrax doing it. And it didn't really work when it was Cyber Sub-Zero, because then they didn't give Smoke... Like, if you're giving Sub-Zero Smoke's part, you'd think you'd give Smoke Sub-Zero's part, but they didn't. They just put him in the background.
Yeah, I remember, like, those 40 minutes where I thought, wow, they might be setting up for Smoke for something big, and he's dead.
No, Cabal and Jax are going to do all the work, and he's just going to stand back there and get his neck snapped.
There's also... I mean, speaking of poetry, right? I think one of the best parts of the Cyber Initiative is that had they not automated Smoke, Sector and Cyrax may have succeeded and killed Sub-Zero. The reason why they fail is because he teams up with Smoke. At least in theory. We can't prove this, but it's part of the narrative at least.
I think having allies in general definitely helped because, like in the original story, he captures Cyrax and reprograms him to go after the Outworlders. I think Jax probably helped with that.
Yeah.
I think
maybe Sub-Zero can hack as well as Nightwolf.
In my head, in my head, Smoke being part of it, like the fact that he turns and rejoins Sub-Zero, definitely should matter to how Kuai Liang beats Sector and Cyrax.
Indeed.
Another thing about this shot is I've seen a few complaints that Cyrax is the one shooting the missiles, even though Sector's standing right next to him.
Look, they can all do it.
I have always believed that the Cybers all share the same weapons, and they just choose which ones they use. I believe that's I like it when all three have the same body design.
This shit is made out of nanomachines, and they can make up whatever they want.
Yeah, honestly, like those chest compartments, it's not like they store the missiles in there. They have a fucking magic 3D printer that teleports missiles into being.
Pretty much. Like, entering the field of battle with several, like, nuclear-grade weapons in your chest, not a good idea. But to the aesthetics of this...
There's like a Star Trek replicator in Cyrax's chest, and you can kind of see when it opens up in the modern games that he's got this glowing green light thing in there that makes stuff. It's not a storage chamber. It teleports the bombs into reality.
I want to disagree on this one. I think if you're going to have a League of Robot Assassins, I think it's important that they have unique functions at least, and they're just... I don't think there's any evidence in any of the games that Cyrax can shoot a missile. I don't.
Well, there's not specifically that Cyrax can shoot a missile.
Okay,
but there is that like Smoke has the same bomb.
Think of this. Yeah, exactly. Smoke drops the bombs. Cyrax also drops the bombs. Sector does a teleport punch. Smoke also does a teleport punch. They share armament. It's just that this is one of the varieties that we've never seen. Cyrax directly using something that Sector does. You know? It is odd.
I feel like... Well, the teleport punch is a good example, because I think there are, even though they both can do it, there's lore reasons behind teleport punches that make them different.
Well,
I would like to think Smoke's is nanotechnology, and Sector's is literal teleportation. That again, I can't prove that in a court of law, but I feel like there is a lore explanation for those two things. The bombs, okay, I don't know why Smoke has bombs. I don't have a good answer for that. But the teleport punches, at least, you could rationalize.
The teleport punches have been more expanded on in recent games, where they've given Smoke a cloud of smoke, and they've given Sector ones and zeros.
Starting in Armageddon, they started having visual effects that separated them.
But I think that the intent was to always have them feel like they could come off of an assembly line.
Yeah, that's how I've always felt about it.
A wide variety of weapons.
There's also
at all their disposals.
I feel like there are scenes in Defenders of the Realm where the quote-unquote wrong robot shoots the missile or the bomb. There's also a scene in Defenders once where Cyrax shoots a missile with the net attached to it.
I would.
It's Schrodinger's projectile. What is inside? You'll find out when it opens.
Also, I will point out that he shoots 3 missiles at Sub-Zero, and then Sub-Zero like freezes them out of the air. Maybe if Sub-Zero hadn't stopped them, those 3 missiles would have projected the net between them. You know, maybe something like that.
Possibly. I think.
I mean, Smoke had to have been caught. Smoke had to have been caught in something. Yeah, probably Cyrax that did that.
I want to say even Smoke shot missiles in Annihilation. I can't remember anymore.
He did.
Smoke shot a missile.
Okay, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. In the first draft of the script, that was supposed to be Sector.
Yep. But they wanted to have him make a better entrance.
Yeah, they wanted to have him appear out of a cloud of smoke like he does. So they changed it to Smoke, but they kept the missile moment in the script. Meh.
I
Smoke Man, you were saying.
Yes.
I was gonna say that little bit with the cyber ninjas could be near the end of the movie.
Well, I wonder because so
I don't like, I have no context for this particular scene. It feels like it could happen anywhere.
Okay, so I want to point out there's a couple other things with the Sub-Zero and the Lin Kuei throughout both trailers. In the Red Band trailer, there is a shot of Oni demons attacking the temple, and one rips out the Grandmaster's spine. And then there's the two scenes of that cavern with the Earthrealm Kamidogu, and we see Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting there. I wonder if it's going to be like somewhere in the middle of the movie, and the premise is that the Edenia Kami or the Earthrealm Kamidogu is under the Lin Kuei temple. They're guarding it, and Shinnok attacks there to get it, and he happens to attack during the Cyber Initiative.
It makes yeah.
Or maybe that attack happens before the Cyber Initiative. And after the Grandmaster's dead, Sector's like, now I can institute my plan to turn us into robots. Now I'm in charge, and I can do what I want. And I want robots. Could go either way.
But Cyrax would not go to see Ninja Mime that day. It was supposed to be his day off. It would turn out to be the worst day of Cyrax's life.
Another thing I will point out is that in both the fight with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and in the where he's fighting Sector and Cyrax, Kuai Liang already has the eye scar, and it does not look fresh. Like, it's not open and bleeding. It's just he has a colored mark over his eye, like it's been there for a long time.
I wonder if I'll actually get an explanation for it. It doesn't look like
also of note is that when we see Kuai Liang unmasked while he's fighting Sector and Cyrax, he already has a beard, which I'm okay with. If we could go back and put a beard into MK3, I'm down for it.
You know what? I'll be honest. I'm a little bit weirded out by the beard. I accept it, but it's always been synonymous with older Kuai Liang to me.
I can understand that. I can definitely see where that's coming from. But I'm just saying, if we were to create a universe where he always had a beard, no regrets on my end. I'm okay with it. The Beardverse, yes.
I do want to comment briefly on the aesthetics of Cyrax and Sector. Sector, in particular, looks, pretty MK9. He's, his tank-like self. He's sturdy, he's stocky. Cyrax looks like Bayverse Bumblebee did a whole bunch of meth and steroids. I hate it so much.
Cyrax beefy as fuck.
Like, I don't know. We have to get to a point where we remember these are supposed to be stealthy assassins again. It works a bit for Sector because he's like a walking armaments cache. But I don't know, man.
So, personally, for me,
there's too much yellow going on here. I don't think that they should both feel like tanks.
I get it. I've always felt that of the two, MK9's approach to make Sector the big one and Cyrax the thin capoeira-ish one, I never liked that. For my opinions, based on the characters the way they are in the 3D era, because that's my favorite versions of them, I always felt Sector should be the one who adopts the most ninja-ish look and fighting style, because he's the one who clings to running a ninja clan, whereas Cyrax went off and joined the U.S. Army. So I always felt Cyrax should be a bit more beefy and tanky. That said, so I don't. It doesn't bother me how big he is so much, because I chalk a lot of the beefiness up to just the art style, which I've made my bones with. But the design itself is based a lot on MK9, and I have said time and time again, I fucking hate MK9 Cyrax. I'm not a huge fan of any of Cyrax's looks this entire era, and the main reason, besides his squished duck-like face, like the mouth part of his helmets, he's too fucking yellow.
Yep.
That said, there's a little more black and gray on this design than there was in 9. So I think it's a little better, but not good enough.
It's
So
the
yeah,
stripes, man. He still
Yeah.
looks like he could turn into Camaro any second.
Yeah, I mostly agree with you. I don't like this Cyrax, but it's because I haven't liked any Cyrax except 3 and Deadly Alliance.
If it was really up to me, I would, as much as I enjoy the fact that they tried to differentiate them, and I kind of like Tank Sector, but we've completely lost that aspect of dehumanization, which is relayed visually by making them all look exactly the same with only variations in color.
Yeah.
I'd bring us back to a more uniform, stealthy design for all of them.
Yeah, like I said, I like it when their bodies look the same. I like it when they look like they came off an assembly line. I don't think Sector, Cyrax, and Smoke should be majorly personalized as robots.
I
think that defeats the message of them being robots.
Do you think that they're gonna use, like, that brief Raiden flash that he had of, like, Cyber Smoke in the original timeline?
I don't...
Because that was basically like Sector's look, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just...
purple Sector.
Well, no, the shot was in black and white. All of Raiden's visions in 9 were black and white.
Well, whatever,
But yeah, they just used Sector's character model for that. But I don't think we'll really see I don't think we'll see what Smoke looks like as a cyborg until the next movie.
I kind of hope that they don't adopt Cyber Sub's MK9 look for it. I'll be concerned.
They might take some inspiration. I think they're more likely to base Smoke's design on Triborg.
Yeah, I was about to say that Triborg seems more likely.
I suppose I could deal with that.
Because they take stuff from 9 and they take stuff from X, and X has technically a Cyber Smoke outfit right there, and it's Triborg.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
I did want to bring up briefly about using MK9 alt Smoke. Even though I like that costume in game when I'm playing as Smoke, I don't know if I would have chosen that for the movie.
I would have, if it were my choice, I would have given him the 9 main, but maybe without the long hair. I would have masked the 9 main is what I would have done. Because I like elements of both the 9 outfits, but like the steel-plated look is a little bit weird, considering how stealthy he's supposed to be.
I feel that they both have a steel-plated look. That's why I don't like MK9 Smoke's costumes, either one. They're both wearing plated armor. They both look like a medieval knight combined with a ninja.
The 9 main looks to me like it's supposed to be made of the same material that the UMK3 stuff is made out of. It doesn't look armored to me.
Well, it's because his chest plates have rivets.
Well, we'll get into that another time.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
It's just too much. Like, if he's at the temple, it's strange to be dressed like he's going to war. That's the weird... Although maybe that was the case.
I mean, that's always been... That kind of speaks to my problem with it, that it's too armored.
I'd like to see the hair, too. I think Smoke should always have long hair. I think that's one of the most interesting things MK9 did with Smoke. This could be anybody, honestly.
Shoulder length,
I feel like if it were up to me, I would have, done what I do in my own fan art, which is give him a ponytail sticking out of the cowl. But since that's never actually happened in a game, and they're just stuck with adapting the outfits that exist, and they can change a color scheme here or detail there, but they can't make a whole new outfit whole cloth, or at least they're choosing not to. If you're just stuck with 2 Smokes that are in MK9, which one are you going to go with? I can understand why they picked the one that doesn't have the hair out, because it's less of a headache than figuring out how do we draw the hair so it doesn't look bad like it did in that game.
And also, primary MK9 smoke is supposed to sort of be a playoff of Sub-Zero's
Right, it's
costume too, which wouldn't
kind
make
of
sense.
They're
It's
kind of
the
both wearing the
equivalent
same
of a
kind of
Maxim.
gear. The mask is the same, more or less.
It's the
These are
I
their-
left the Lin Kuei costume.
Another thing I'd point out is that in Revenant Smoke in X is wearing the cowled outfit from 9. Since it's recurring, that may have had a little more influence in their choice.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
That is true. I didn't like it in that game either, though. But
enough.
yes.
So yeah, after the Cyber Ninja stuff, there's a scene that's interesting to me where we see Scorpion fighting demons in the Netherrealm, but one of the demons that he's like chopping up with his spear is frozen. So we don't see Sub-Zero, but I'm pretty sure that means Scorpion and Sub-Zero are gonna team up after they fight each other. Like they talk it out, or like Scorpion's like, "I'm sorry I killed your brother, made me do it, or talk me into it. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't. He didn't deserve it."
It's a
And so
wet
he's
dream
like,
for you, isn't it?
I mean, it's in the trailer.
It's everything you've ever wanted.
Yeah, no, I'd be all for that. I mean, it's not even that far off from what happened in MK2.
Yeah,
with
it's
Scorpion lamenting the death of Sub-Zero's brother.
well. There's 2 levels to my enjoyment of it. It's not just Scorpion and Sub-Zero teamed up. It's who they're teamed up against. Because Quan Chi was the architect of both of all the bad things in their lives, and he works for Shinnok. So the 2 of them are fighting Shinnok together. That's cathartic.
I'm gonna give a shout out
Yeah,
to the
no,
moment
I'm down.
where he's extracted the small bit of spear from his hand and he's swinging it like a small axe. It feels like a touch of UMK3 combo potential. I like it.
So yeah, I'm just really happy at the prospect that the B plot of this isn't just Scorpion. It's Scorpion and Kuai Liang teamed up to stop Shinnok from getting these Kamidoga.
Ah, wonderful.
Another scene we get a quick flash of is Kitana with a katana, the sword, cutting a Tarkatan in half, and it appears that she's doing it in the alleyway, and I think Liu Kang's parents are like in the corner of the shot. Like she was there when he was a baby, and she was trying to save him. So it'll be interesting to see how that connects to her storyline, her history of secretly opposing her stepfather, and her future as Liu Kang's love interest.
So I guess that just Raiden and her went on a mission to try to find the kid, yeah? Seems
I
like
guess she must have been like on one hand, maybe she's an informant. She told him, "Hey, Outworld has sent assassins to go after this couple for some reason. You might want to stop that." But on the other hand, shouldn't Raiden be able to sense Outworld intruders in his territory? So we'll see how it goes.
This is very interesting given Katana's perspective in MK9. That she was kind of at
Indeed.
a point without hope. Well, I should say,
Yeah, like the Scorpion's
in
Revenge.
Scorpion's Revenge, yeah, sorry.
Maybe she doesn't realize that Liu Kang is that baby grown up. That would be interesting.
Indeed.
Then we get a comedy sequence in the Red Band trailer where Devora punches Johnny Cage in the nuts, and everyone, all the good guys except Sonya, are like wincing and sympathetic, and she's just like, "Oh, don't be such a baby."
Other flashes we get a masked Sub-Zero throwing an icicle. Striker.
I will.
There's Striker punching the shit out of something under the camera. If that is Striker.
I think that might be himself.
Yes,
I
indeed.
think Striker hitting Striker, because one of them is Shang.
Yep. There's Kintaro losing his arms. Nutshot.
There's a shot of Johnny flipping somebody the bird. No mention in no advertising the bad language this time.
quick flash of Shinnok. He appears to be surrounded by the Kamidogu. Whoops!
Yes, he apparently succeeds at getting all 6 at some point.
It's like a rainbow DDR set right around him, man. It is beautiful.
It's nice to see them all. I just like the Kamidogu, man. I think they're good designs.
Everyone wants to
think they're
collect them
neat.
all. I just think they're neat. They're great. Adorn your house with them.
You know, I was kind of wondering, based on the fact that Shinnok appears to succeed, do you think Scorpion is out to stop him from getting them? Or do you think maybe Scorpion has been tricked into getting them for him, like Shinnok is Damashi and he's Shujinko?
Oh,
I mean, that's not a good look for Scorpion if they do that. That's going to make a lot of people angry.
I'm laughing. I'd enjoy the shit out of it.
Well, I think it would be a way they could go, because if Scorpion's the one with the key, you know, Shinnok's amulet, this movie's version of it, then he would be a target for Shinnok to try and influence. Like, hey, you can let me out of here. Like, maybe Scorpion can hear Shinnok's voice or something like that, you know? And maybe Shinnok pretends to be the voice of something else.
Maybe?
And also, like, obviously, Shinnok's not going to succeed at destroying the universe and releasing the one being. Even though he gets all 6, someone's going to stop him and beat him up.
I mean, that's probably my biggest concern for this movie. Outside of personal things, is we say A plot and B plot, but there's potentially a C plot with the Lin Kuei initiative. So this is, if it's less than 120 minutes, it's like, how are they going to do all this shit?
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be very difficult to cram all of this into a single cartoon movie, because these are usually like an hour and 10, an hour and 20 long.
Maybe some of this shit will be post-credit and it's really out of context. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe the Cyber Initiative will be at the very end. Like I said, maybe demons will attack the Lin Kuei and the Grandmaster will die, and Human Sector will be all like, now I'm in charge. And then Sub-Zero will go out to stop the Kamidogu stuff. And when he comes home, surprise robots, and that's like one of the parts of the ending.
Well, then there's plot D, where Scorpion and Sub-Zero kiss and make up. Like, you have to have time to set that up, too. It's just like, man, they're doing a lot of shit.
Well, again, I think I would consider that part of the B plot.
Yeah.
Like, the B plot is advertised as Scorpion stopping Shinnok from getting the Kamidogus, but I think it's Scorpion and Sub-Zero stopping Shinnok from getting the Kamidogus.
Yeah, I guess B plot's gonna be big, is what I mean.
Like, I think it's gonna like the Lin Kuei enter the story with the fact that the demons are attacking the temple, and the demons are there to get probably the Earthrealm Kamidogu, and Scorpion's probably there to stop them from getting it. But Sub-Zero is like, that's the guy who killed my brother. So Scorpion and Sub-Zero have a fight here, but then they talk it out and realize that they have to work together because the demons after the Kamidogu are more important. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, maybe. I think even at that level, though, that's still a lot. It's a bunch.
I do think one detail that I wanted to point out is in that scene where Scorpion and Sub-Zero are fighting each other, and Sub-Zero has like Scorpion pinned on his back and is about to stab him with a dagger. Sub-Zero has tears streaming down his face as he says, "You will pay for my brother's death." I think that's a nice touch.
It is. Shows you see, like, it is family. Gives shit. There's connection. You know, 9 played it off as, where's my bro? What happened to him?
Yeah,
Killed him, now kind of vaguely irritated. No, this is like, I loved my brother.
This is a more emotional performance, yes.
Oh.
I also think that's going to make it all the more, like,
awful
impactful
when he comes back as Noob Saibot.
Well, what I'm is it's gonna make it, because likely what's gonna happen is he's got Scorpion pinned and he's about to stab him with the dagger. He's probably gonna stab the dagger next to his head and be like, "I can't do it."
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I would like that. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing with that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just
Like it's a
too
cliche,
perfect. It's perfect.
but it's a
for it.
really good one.
yeah, cliches are around for a reason. If they don't remove them, do them correctly, right? But yeah, I will laugh and I'll be happy, but I'll also laugh if that happens.
Right. And then there's another shot in the trailer of Shao Kahn declaring a fatality, and in the red band version, he's licking blood off his hand before he says it. And I hate to say this, but what are the odds that this is yet another universe where Kung Lao is only here just to die?
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Because look, when Liu Kang fights him at the end, he's angry about something.
I just kind of conceded that early that Kung Lao wasn't going to make it. I was already kind of prepared for that.
It's kind of the difficult thing about being a character's sidekick. This applies to what Kung Lao is to Liu Kang, what Smoke is to Sub-Zero, and what Jade is to Kitana.
You are motivation food.
Yeah.
And I think that worked best in MK3, frankly. But my favorite thing about Kung Lao is never going to happen anyway, and that's the MK Gold material. So
that's the thing is, I generally agree. I think if you're gonna kill quote unquote Kung Lao, it should be done at the end of 3. And then you reveal he survived and he's been living, like, he's hiding out in Outworld and he's had a whole life there, and it's like, because he couldn't get back, because he didn't know where to find a portal. And he was like,
what does it say that this is a guy that's been technically dying in almost every appearance, every timeline? It is the guy's fate, and it really truly sucks.
It does suck, but it's like, the problem with those sidekick characters is that's what they were created to do.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as the character that they're a sidekick to is around, like, anytime you tell a Jade story, there's probably going to be like, 1/3 of people will be like, hey, I'm happy to see Jade, and then 2/3 of people will be like, where's Kitana?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and the solution to that is a thing you don't want to do. Like, with Liu Kang, when you get to Deadly Alliance, it's okay to kill him off, and then you could do a version of MKDA where Kung Lao actually is the hero at the end instead of everybody dying and deception happening. That might work. But I don't think anybody wants to see a world where Sub-Zero dies so Smoke can replace him, or where Kitana dies so Jade can replace her.
I am slowly raising both hands.
Okay, well, maybe there's a couple people out there, but most people don't really want that. I certainly don't want that, because I would rather see Smoke and Sub-Zero together.
Would be nice, wouldn't it? Anyway, going through this a little bit, because, we've been talking for quite some time now, and
yeah,
we're over 3 hours. We are certainly making up for time.
Well, we've covered the whole thing. The Red Band trailer ends on a different scene than the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight, where they're fighting at the camp with the Tarkatans, and Johnny makes some jokes about Sonya having a sniper rifle. Whatever.
Just point out a few things. We get a Li Mei and Sonya shot
right.
very briefly. When they clash, Li Mei's got this really evil bitch grin on her face. I'm sorry, Temp.
No, I pointed this out in the
we talked
casual convo. She's going to be evil almost.
And then we see like the big button on that scene in the trailer is Sonya like doing a leaping leg grab and taking Li Mei to the ground so hard it looks like it breaks her neck.
Yeah.
I think that's, if not the fatality, that's the start of it.
Yeah, I think it's hard to stand up against Sonya in the lore. They're not going to do anything to make Sonya look bad in the lore. I think Li Mei's, again, I don't love it. As a matter of fact, it's extremely upsetting, but it just is what it is.
Gosh, you know what they could have done? They could have had her and Kano get captured and chained up, and then she wouldn't have to fight somebody in the tournament.
That would have been fantastic.
If only.
Or you let Reptile live and let him fight in the tournament against Sonya. Life would have been good.
Well, there were some options.
I guess we'll cycle back a little ways. We'll go on. We'll let you finish your point.
I was just gonna say that I generally agree that Lee May being used this way in this movie is a mistake. I don't think it's like a major mistake, and it's not gonna ruin the movie for me. And like, there's a lot I'm looking forward to. Fucking Cyber Initiative, fucking Sub-Zero and Scorpion teamed up.
So much.
Like,
it's
at the end of the day, I'm just happy that we're getting a Mortal Kombat 2 cartoon.
Yeah.
It's just two categories for me: the movie review and the Lee May review. Right? It's just it's actually not that different with Smoke. Honestly, there's a Smoke review, and then there's the Battle of the Realms review. It's all kind of in separate categories to begin with. I was just going to route back briefly and say the reason why I would not do Chameleon with a C in Lee May's place is because my stance, even I love Chameleon probably more than anyone on the Discord with a C. But I think the minute you explain what Chameleon is, the idea falls apart. I think Chameleon should be an omen. That's what makes him cool to me.
I think you've been playing too much Killer Instinct. The guy works for God.
Perhaps,
I don't
perhaps.
maybe I don't need to know what he is, but I know he reports to the guy on the throne. And that's all I need for him
he
to
is
be there.
the only consistent thing about him, the only story he's ever had was that at least he's in Shao Kahn's army. And for this spot in the lore, if you're looking to replace Lee May, who likely is not given any backstory or dialogue, that's a good place for a character who's you want to keep mysterious anyway, like fucking Chameleon, whatever. Plus, just stick him in there to be the Reptile, because you killed off Reptile.
He was mysterious, and then he died, and the mystery was never solved.
Pretty much.
It is true. I don't even know what his blood would look like, frankly, but I don't want to kill Chameleon with a K either. I've actually had a change of heart on Chameleon with a K.
Well, I'd feel the same about Chameleon with a K being there as I would about Natara being there, as I do about Lee May being there. I don't need a character to have, like, a much screen time. Like, or even dialogue. The thing that matters the most to me, if you're going to put them in, is that they're on the side they're supposed to be on. Like, just keep their alignment the same.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
These are the good guys, and these are the bad guys. Chameleon with a K is one of the good guys. Natara is technically one of the good guys. Lee May is one of the good guys. So it's weird when they're fucking fighting for Shao Kahn in tournaments.
Choir, 100%. In a perfect world, Reptile just wouldn't be dead. Reptile would have just been in the MK2 tournament, and this wouldn't have even been a problem.
We're gonna find
never ever change alignments.
We're gonna find out it's a Como die. Real Reptile is still alive, just like they will with the next piece of shit movie sequel. Everything's fine.
Yeah, we've talked about before. It's his cousin, Reptile.
Yep.
Absolutely. The writer agrees with us. He said that in his mind, Baraka and Reptile aren't necessarily in Scorpion's revenge. That was just a random Saurian and a random Tarkatan. So that the real Reptile and Baraka can appear anytime he wants.
Such a fucking option select. Oh my gosh, that is such a shitty option
It was,
select.
in fact, canonically Schmeptile.
All right. Now that we've covered the whole thing, I think we should cut it there for the night.
Yeah, we gotta call it.
Yeah, we did the thing.
I don't know if we mentioned it on the air, but Smokeman died about like half an hour
Yeah.
ago. You probably noticed he hasn't been
was
talking.
sleepy. He's a sleepy boy.
So he's in bed now, and it's time that we do the same. I am guessing that the next time that we do another cast will be to talk about the movie we just spent a couple hours gushing over the possibilities.
Yeah. It releases at the end of August, so it's not that far away. Month and a half, 2 months-ish from where we are now.
So happy. A
Per
reason to be
tradition,
excited.
Jacob will be in my place, and I'm sure he'll do a great job in the review.
You know what would be so fucking our lives is if this thing comes out and then like Warner Brothers shuts down their animation division and there's no third one, so we don't get Cyber Smoke.
Don't. I had this thought a little while ago, but I do not voice these things because I am a superstitious motherfucker. You will jinx it. Don't say these things. Let the beauty happen organically. Have faith.
Right.
I demand
I
it.
will. Look,
I demand it! Sorry.
they've survived this far through all the being acquired by AT&T and then sold off again by AT&T stuff.
Just let me round out the trilogy. That's all I ask.
I
Maybe
just- yeah.
four would be nice. We don't even have to get there. For the pace of things, we'll be dealing with Shinnok by the end of the third one.
With all the Shinnok content we were already getting, I wonder if they'll combine 3 and 4 into a single movie.
You know, that's my point of view on this, actually. I don't think that we're getting, like, Shao Kahn merges Earthrealm and Outworld. I think we're getting MKX the story.
Well, so there's a couple important things you can't really adapt Mortal Kombat the way they're doing without covering. One of them is the resurrection of Sindel, just because she's such a major character. Now, they could certainly have fucking Quan Chi and Shinnok be the ones to do it instead of Shao Kahn, but it would be a little weird.
But it doesn't make sense with them as it does with him.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll ally with them, but, like...
That's why I'm thinking 3 and 4 combined, because it would be an alliance between Shao Kahn's forces and Shinnok's forces.
A lethal alliance.
And besides, the most famous thing about MK4 is just Quan Chi and Shinnok happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's the two of them, Fujin and maybe Tanya are the important characters. Like, nobody really thinks that they would ever make a movie where the plot centers around, like, hey, here's Jarek and Kai.
Oh, but at the rate things are going, they are shoo-ins to cameo and die.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sure Jarek will appear and get fucking murdered in the next one.
All right. So, until about a month and a half to 2 from now, thank you for joining us.
See you later, nerds.
Take care, everybody.
Mortal Kombat 11 is dead. Long live Mortal Kombat! We're not going to talk for an hour and a half next time, don't worry.
I'm tired, I'm drunk, I want to go to bed.
Jesus Christ. Should we be audio testing first?
I don't know. I feel pretty good about our chances tonight. Maybe I'm actually recording right now.
I just want to wing it and see what happens.
Man, watch Razor lose connection the instant you press play. That'd be
right.
Funny. Be funny, and we'd just be sitting there in silence as he's fucking. Fuck you, Razor.
Assuming I am recording all this is wonderful behind-the-scenes footage.
Great.
Yeah, no, right? It'd be good, like extra content if it were being recorded anyway.
If it were.
If it were. Okay. So give me a countdown. Let me know when you're ready.
All right.
3, 2, 1, go, nerd.